So that's providing physics. And that kind of thing is important. Sink into the ground. And that's the right way to do it. So this demonstration is just to show that that is probably the way we want to do that. Let's get off of MagBandit for a second and actually bring the mining pick into the stage and test it. Let's apply the changes I made to this because that's easy to remove if I have to. Those giant pipes can go. And we'll just give... actually, no, we won't give it to Sanford. I'd like to test the full thing, so let's put... Okay, so here we go. And as you can see, Sanford cannot pick up the pipe that the... Cool, picks that up just fine. And when we go to the weapon, let's just double check. It's going to be weapon pick. Okay, both box colliders are on. Let's see. And I think that's okay because it's using the item layer. But then this big ass guy over here, I feel like this guy was turning off. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's any big problem here. I think one way to see when that thing is supposed to turn off. Let's see. Yeah, so the things that will turn off would be like crates. There we go. So crates follow different rules than things like the mining pick. Crates, just like the pipe, are considered obstacles. And you'll see up here when I select it in scene. I know I just dropped it. I'll have to start it over. But you'll see the obstacle layer up here. Obstacles are things that when you walk into them, there's collision. This over here is probably an obstacle. These guys are definitely obstacles. Barrels. But if I was able to collide with this while I was holding it, I would grunt wizard up into the air. So we'll open this again. We'll go back into the scene view. And you'll notice that while I'm holding this obstacle, right, my box collider's off. If I was to turn this on, I think we know what's going to happen. Ready? Well, actually, maybe nothing. Oh, maybe it's because I'm set as item. Oh, because it's item. Yes, change children. Is it doing anything?
Children.
I guess it doesn't care.
Yeah, sliding around.
But yeah, nevertheless, I was noticing issues with characters with carrying obstacle objects in their hands, things like crates. So the MagBandit was picking up the pipe, but it's that collider that was on it was causing it to interfere with your experience, Bill. So let's go back into pipe and we'll make the change. And I like to talk about it to explain it, but ultimately, let's just get rid of this collider here. Or actually, we'll keep it as a base note so we know where it's supposed to go. All these guys have, yeah, their colliders are gone as they should be. Machine explosion. Okay, so we're just going to add a box collider. And this doesn't even need to be a sphere collider. I don't even know why I'm using one. So while I'm here, or a capsule collider. So let me actually get rid of this. That should be a freaking box collider. There's no time that this thing needs to spin in place. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create this thing. That. We just want to get it more or less in the right spot. Doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, that's as perfectly not perfect as we need. And that's a really big object. And we don't want these little things to end up in the ground, the like rings. So let's increase the size to like 1.1. Same thing with the Z. 1.1. It's not exactly lined up either, so if we really need to, we can like move it like negative 0.05. Or is it 0.5? 0.5. Come on, swing. Yeah, it's too much, but you get the idea. Actually, let's do negative 0.2. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and we'll do something similar up here to the top part. Collider. So we have another one, y-axis, all the way up. And it's the fact that he's rotated here, because it needs to be kind of facing that way. I wonder. I wonder what'll happen. No, it's yeah, based on how he holds it. I'm just going to keep it like that. Yeah, I think that's the reason I did it that way because remember I mentioned I can't rotate these things, so I have to like I'll have to create like 2 of these things specifically like that, and then another one out here. Let's copy that. Oops, no, not find and seen. Case component is new. That, and that'll do the job. That's more or less what we're looking for. And at least now, when this guy picks up his weapon, it shouldn't have the same issues that it had before. But we'll find out by doing. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're coming close to 1 o'clock, and then we're going to swap over to talking about like communicating with you guys. We're going to be talking about story mode and the progress ending bugs that are keeping people from getting through the game. Because I hear about some and I fix them, but it seems like there's more of them than I'm actually hearing about. And some of the bug reports might be getting lost in the swarm. So, and I'm trying to clean up what I can. And I was just out of town for a week, so I'm back to doing this. But yeah, we're going to cover those, and we're going to talk about the new arena mode, what the flaws are, and what Matt and I have in store for trying to fix those bugs based on complaints. So let's get to bandits, and we should still have, instead of mining pick, yeah, giant pipe. Actually, I think he's spawning with one, isn't he? No, yeah, let's switch up to crate. Sorry, I need that over here. I'm going to move Discord on this side. Take questions. All right. Okay, so we're going to go. We're going to pick this up. First thing we want to look at is, are the colliders doing what they need to do? Those pipes don't matter. It's just the main guy. There's all of his colliders. Box, 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 set to obstacle. And when I walk over this guy, it should have some physics, right? All right. Next test. All right, here we are. See, like, I noticed that this collider, it knew to turn this one off, but these ones are still here. So that means I will have to go in, at least for objects like this that are where the collisions really matter, and those things can bump you around. I need to go in there and I need to have this item remember all colliders that belong to it. So we can't do that in Unity. We have to go into code. And this is where I live. All right. So we have some things called, I think it's called solid on floor. Yeah, solid on floor. When drop becomes an obstacle, not an item. That's the crate, and in this case, the pipe. So this guy, solid on floor, solid on floor. That turns this thing on, and solid on floor, then item layer becomes obstacle. So what we need to do is when something drops on the floor, I may not fix this today because we're going to run out of time before I get the chance to, and I'll do this later today. But this means that we're going to have certain objects have different rules for turning their colliders on or off. However, when this guy gets picked up, and this is one thing that's kind of interesting. Hold on a second. Let me take a look. Come here. You grab that. Thank you. Yeah, what really I find interesting, though, and Bill, this should be relevant, is despite the fact that these colliders are box and box, this layer is set to item, right?
Right.
Item layers don't collide with people. You'll see once I drop it in game here, that item will turn into obstacle after I stop blocking. There it is, obstacle, and now I can bump into it. But item layers don't interact with people. So there must have been some kind of other bug happening, Bill, that was causing that, because there's no reason you should have been colliding with those things.
I'm going to see if I can replicate that thing again, currently on that stage.
Yeah, with
progress through that.
Nevertheless, having an entirely different object inside the pipe just to create that collision was not the right way to go about it. So those changes will still apply that I just did, but I need the game to be more consistent with when it's finding multiple colliders and objects that use them. And let me just do a quick search here. My collider enabled. Okay. That. Let's go to main. Okay, yeah. Yeah, there's only 2 times in the code that any kind of item, weapons, armor, when you break them off of like golems or whatever, collectibles like money drops in arena, only 2 times ever does it enable the collider or disable it. It does, it enables it, or rather it disables it on item drop. My collider enabled equals false, and then re-enable it, yeah. Oh, it's using the enable collision thing. Enable collision, yeah. It's on my other monitor, but these are all the different times that anywhere in the code does the game request an item to either enable or disable its collider. And for this, it's not important. This is just a miasma of information. But a lot of them tend to come from the animator controller on characters. Usually for when they're picking up weapons and dropping them. Lockers do it one time. Some event areas do it. The power chords for the final Gestalt fight thing, those do it. But yeah, you get the idea. But yeah, that's what I need to do is instead of having it turn on my collider, see right here, instead of my collider, what it would do is it would loop through all colliders and turn all of those on instead of doing this particular one. And that's an easy fix. But the problem is that my collider is assigned, and I think, where's the very first time it's assigned? I think it's probably right here in world object, which is the parent to like everything in the game. Characters, lockers, ammunition, bullets, like all these things derive from the same thing somewhere back in their genealogy. So my collider equals get component collider right here. What we would do is instead is have something like public collider. It won't be as easy as all this because we need to. Oh wait, what am I doing? Sorry, this is what happens when I don't code for a week. I start to turn into a. No right spot. All right, my colliders, different name. And what we would do is down here where it assigns it, we would get that plural, and then it would find all of them. And then oh wait, the components can't do that. I don't know how to use a keyboard either. But it would yeah, we'd be using get components, but yeah, let's get components. Okay. Is it because oh, you know why? It's because it's not a list array. And now that goes away. So we would do something like this, and it would find all the colliders that exist on the object. And when I say on the object, I mean on that physical object in the world. It looks through all the different scripts and finds the ones that are on just that, not in its many children that exist inside of it, but just on that. And that's much cheaper than trying to find it the other way. So I would do something like this, and I'll probably just do it for items that need it. I'll come back to that fix, and let me make a note of that right now, Bill, so I can fix this later. Call it multi-colliders. Okay. So I mean, it's close enough to 1 o'clock, I suppose. We can start talking about what we're going to be doing here. So first things first, I'm also going to be interacting with chat here, so we might not see a lot of stuff in Unity. I'm just going to be on Discord typing with you guys and talking here. So why don't we cover first? I want to get a dedicated list, and let's get I don't know, like a notepad or something open here. WordPad. And let's start recording everything that is an issue that needs to get fixed in story bugs. And we're going to start with category A. We're going to call this game breaking and hard lock. Okay, and this is not going to be in any particular order. We're just going to kind of shout them out, and I'll discuss it with you guys. So yeah, let me get to dev stream. All right, cool. I'm in. Okay, so the first thing, guys, I want to start with, I'm now in chat. The first thing I want to start with is I want to figure out in story mode only, not arena just yet, but that's going to get a whole Like that's going to get most of the hour. In story mode, where do we have bugs that are consistently stopping people from progressing? Like, for example, in I think it's the power station, the sheriff stage. Those guys that get stuck and won't leap over the rails anymore. Like, I'll put that as an example. Sheriff stage. I sometimes forget the names of the actual stages, guys, because we have them differently named as files. Sheriff stage. Dudes won't leap over barricades. Okay. Okay, yeah, see, that's a good one from Shoot the Cheese. Yeah, let's do robots stuck on spawner racks. Last leg. Have you guys run into that in the science tower also? Do the robots in that stage do it as well? Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll come back to those guys too, but that's a good one. Did you guys also run into the blackguard? Not like when he dies, you can't actually finish the stage. Okay. All right. Blackguard doesn't die in final corpus cost. Okay. I'll that one will be an easy one. I'm going to be fixing that today. Okay. All right. Any other major ones like consistently you can't get past a certain part? Even it doesn't have to be like a boss that's not beatable, or even if it's just a weird bug, or you just can't seem to get past a certain room. Kind of like the what was it? Any room that had a turret, if you left that room, you wouldn't even spawn into the next room. Like in the asylum, that one's been fixed, but that was a pretty game breaking issue. All right, so the seeking asylum, breaking the vent. Did you guys have that issue? Oh, do you mean like you lost the wrench? Did it like fall out of the stage or something? Or where did the wrench go? Wait, you grabbed the wrench and you went back to the turret? But can you progress backwards? I don't. I guess you can. No, in asylum you can't. Wait. No, wait. Why am I saying asylum? Wait, which? Oh, you mean the wrench? Okay. Oh, you tried to kill the right. I got you. The turrets that are up the staircase. I get it. Okay. Yeah. Let me make a note of that. That won't be for this list, but I am gonna make a little note of that. I want to make an invincible wrench there, or a wrench spawner that keeps generating them in case that breaks. Wrench versus turret. We could yeah, unlimited wrenches. Yeah, we could easily have something, either a wrench spawner, kind of like the pistol that spawns to get across the bridge before you fight Church and George for the first time. We could have a wrench spawner that does something like that, or make a wrench like a spanner that just doesn't break.
I like just more wrenches.
Mm-hmm.
I want there to be like a wrench that's just blade.
Yeah.
It's easier to explain away. The fact just has more wrenches than you'll use.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. All right. So it doesn't sound like we do have. Let me see. Gabe was saying what, last room of the tech in the bus missions for the goods. Okay. So oh, the mission with the tech. So you mean the one that is that the freezer, like the final room where the chef shows up? Okay. Let's go take a look at that. If that's, here we go. Arena. That's going to be Street 1. Represents Contract Mission 2. Yeah, that'll be an easy fix. Some missions just end up without a fourth wall, we call them. Oh, hello, guy. Alright, I don't remember which door it is. These are our cheat doors to get through. Alright, so I'll have to get through this. That's fine. Look, they just die. Just die like that. You see we added some guys up here. They don't spawn yet, but... Hey, what's up, guys? Oh, those guys should come in, like, in combat mode. They're, like, unaware. Added more health in that previous room. Kill those guys. Goodbye, guys. Bye, guys. It's the Mario brothers. And they're dead. So it's not this room, so you mean this one here. Whoa. Looks like you can fall off there. Whoa. Of course, that's not game breaking because you can just come back, but that's an easy fix. Alright. This room, yes, is called Spaghetti 4. Spaghetti 4 of 4. So, easy way to put this together, we just go zoop. There you go, yeah, forget about it. Mark that as static, put this guy as terrain invisible, remove his renderers, and there we go. We now have a perfectly good blocker. You'll notice in a lot of rooms, if we select them, you'll see a lot of like boxes. Like you can see the cubes kind of surrounding the shelves up here. Yeah, we've come to calling these gangrene walls, and gangrene knows why. It's because gangrene will find a way to get his character stuck absolutely anywhere. So we put a bunch of gangrene walls everywhere to keep that from happening. You can see we've got some like right in there, those cubes right there. Even the fences have them. We've got them like over here, so you can't end up inside of the bean silo, the noodle silo, right there. We've even got them over here, so you can't get stuck in the window. So you see that looks like a little ramp right there. But yeah, okay, so that fixes that. Let me come back to the Discord. And yeah, for Torby, we need to know which boxes those are. For boxes that are up against the fourth wall, or any wall where you can just jump over them, there are ways that I can add primitive colliders to keep it so that if you do jump onto the box, basically what we would do is we would get rid of the cover point that lets you leap it, that would send you through the wall. But we typically need the list of those, and then we can go in and individually change them. Oh, is there one in the pilot mission? Let's go see. Let's go one by one. So there's no cover here. It's not this one, because that one sends you over. There's no cover in here, right? Oh, it's this one right here. Is that the one? Yeah, that one? Okay, cool. So this is how we fix this. The game automatically gets rid of any kind of cover points like this that appear inside the wall. It knows that you can't reach it, so it just ignores those, automated. But this one, okay, so what we would do is we would just go in here. If I can get, there we go. We grab this cover point, CP4, disable him, and I don't think I have to remove it. Just in case I can, but I think if it's disabled, it'll just know. So we'll try that right quick. In fact, let me go back and see how it automatically disabled cover point 4 or 3 right there. That was the one that was left on. And although it knows those are all there, the fact that it disables it tells me that fix. Oh, hello. And I should be able to kill these guys and go backwards to cheat that. Hold on, I have to. This is the game was not meant to be played this way. That. Okay. Yeah, so I can only grab cover there. It might still let me jump this though. If it does, I think it only lets you do it by the cover point, so I can't on cover jump over anywhere where there's not a cover point, so that'll fix it. So there we go. Okay. Yeah, whenever you guys come across those, I can definitely use that. So yeah, so for this one, as you've seen, same thing. I can go here. I can turn this off. Gone. Grab this, same thing. Gone. Okay. And while we're here, let's make sure. Is he in the wall? Yeah, he's slightly in the wall. That's good enough. And this guy, not in the wall. Okay, cool. So there we go. We got all three. Perfect. Now that we know that works. All right. So I think that does it for this stage. Oh yeah, the first abomination issue. And take a look at that. Okay. Let's just double check that this. Oh yeah, good call. All these other boxes. These should be disabled though, I think, right? Let me see. Convert to decoration. Convert to decoration. These guys are not decoration, yeah, so we want to make sure these guys all have. Okay. That and that. Those guys there. Off. And then this guy here. Off. Awesome. Okay, that should be it. Remember, these guys aren't used as cover. They're disabled in this area. Yeah, these two guys. And I don't like that it looks like you could potentially get stuck there, so let's just move that there. That. And yeah, these guys have convert to decoration on, so that'll be that. Okay, cool. All right, I think that should do it. And Ruiner, we're I think we just got that fixed. This is the last one of the pilot mission.
Ruiner is gangrene, by the way.
Oh, Ruiner is? Okay. Oh, yeah, I recognize the icon, but I didn't see the name. Cool. Oh, there you are, Gangrene. Gangrene, the creator of every area you're not supposed to get into. I like to think that Gangrene's actually responsible for, like non-Euclidean zones in the game that we don't even think are places you can stand. Like they weren't there until Gangrene found them. Okay. Let's see. Remove the wall in front of the elevator. Which elevator? This one over here? One thing I can do, so if you do fall out of the stage, yeah, and then it puts you back up here, right? That's what was happening before. Like it sticks you up here. Okay, yeah, for that what we'll do is in areas where you're blocked off from proceeding in past zones, there's two ways to do it. One thing we can do is I can add a backtrack preventer that when you if you ever appear up here, it'll zip you back over here. But another way to do it would be the dead zone in. And this is sort of like a backup. These are the things that we use to kill you when you fall out of stages, like the old, murder rooms all had this. I guess the new one has it too in one point, even if it's the fans that get you. So what we'll do is we'll have this thing here, and we put it in the correct room. That's going to be this one here. That. Okay. Marked as static, blah, blah, blah. Send to entrance, player squad. No doors for dead men. No, players can come back. Auto kill, non-essentials. So actually we'll do essentials. Well, yeah, so essentials are like bosses, some important characters, as well as the player and their teammates. Affect automaton, sure. Remove from game undead, sure. So yeah, so any non-player or non-boss, and there's no bosses in this room, so that doesn't apply, that fall into this zone will now automatically be removed from the game. No physics falling forever till they make the calculation that they've fallen so far that they pop out of existence. Instead, this thing will catch you before that same check determines, hey, player, go back to your door. And it'll send you to a door, but we haven't assigned it a door yet, so we'll give it one. We'll say that door there. That's perfect. That's the one. We have some dead zones up there for the civilians that walk around in the background. So as they walk this way, they'll get eliminated and new ones will spawn in, and that's how that little city thing works up there. This one, on the other hand, and yeah, you can see send to entrance none, auto kill, non-essentials. So if for some reason if Gangrene managed to get themselves up here, then you end up in that zone, nothing's going to happen. You can't auto kill yourself that way. It'll only take care of civilians. Okay, so we have this thing, door enemy. That seems fine, so we'll put player, just to name it so we know what this is supposed to be. And enemy 2. Okay, so. And linked entrances, right there. Okay, so if we go in and do that test again, We'll go into the final Tony room and then leave again. I'm assuming you guys can't hear any audio. Notice I'm singing along. I guess I can mute my copy. I don't have to be able to. Okay. So yeah, first off, still cover, but I can only do it over. That's funny. It's trying to get to that one, but I'm cute. It's not supposed to work that way. I have a fix I can do for that. You see what it's doing? If I try to do cover, it's like grabbing onto the ledge or to the edge. It can't pull me over like it's doing there, like right at the corner. That's easy to fix, but I had never thought to do that. So one way to test this then is we need to, well, first kill those guys before they kill me. Oh, I wrong dev key. I lose. He hit me. We'll just go back in there and do that again. I think I'm just going to make it so if you're using cover that you ignore collision with the cover piece, and when you end cover, you reinitialize your collision with them. Come on, go before it ends. Okay, and disable this. Scroll wall combat, and we'll turn off the spawner that make those guys spawn so that they just. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to test that if I fall off the edge. We can just get rid of the fourth wall here. We'd probably do it. Or the floor. Fourth wall. There. That's it. Okay, so off I go. Yep, okay. There it is. Forever fixed. Yeah, I do need to make a habit of any areas that you backtrack that isn't an issue anymore. Do we have the music on?
Oh, I'm just listening to music.
Is it the bot? Because I wouldn't be able to listen while I'm doing this otherwise.
No, we haven't.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, if you want to take a look at what.
Oh, he goes. That's why Crinkles is muted. Yeah.
But
Let's see. Are you streaming on your side?
yeah. I think
Nice.
you just click up a little.
Let's go watch Crinkles' stream for a second. Oh yeah, you're working on the murder room.
Yeah. Wait.
Because I can also just look at you. I can look left. I just have to look at Matt's thing. Okay, so I'm going to get to fixing the game-breaking stuff in a moment. What I'll probably do is after we do our, it's not really, well, I guess it's kind of Q&A, but it's mostly related to arena mode. Let's call it a discussion. After we're done with the discussion, I'll probably leave my stream on and we can just bug fix today. And maybe start working on some of the changes to arena that we're going to be talking about. Because Matt and I sat down and talked, well, we mostly stood, paced, and bounced off the walls. We didn't really sit, but we did talk for like an hour and a half to 2 hours last night when I got back in. Yeah, I got in at what, like 7:40, 7:50, and you were out of here by
8.
yeah, and you were out of here by 7:30 or 9:30. 9:30, I mean. Yeah. We think we fixed a lot of the problems in concept that we're having with Arena. But we need to go over that with you guys. Let me see. So yeah, before we get to that, let me see if I can't just record some of these bugs. Shoot the Cheese is saying, all right, hard to reproduce, dodging on the platform. Yeah, the sliding thing. So that's a weird one because water has a timer now while you're in it that determines when you've been in there long enough, and then it just sends you to a door. Or it sends you to that, like, the drop zone, the dead zone that we just added here to save your character. The water can be linked to one of these to communicate to it, hey, this guy's been in me long enough, you do the calculations for what happens if he's been in me for long enough. And then it'll either kill you or send you to like a ledge to come climbing back up. I believe you that it's happening because I've seen it happen in videos, but I don't know how to reproduce it. So if once we can reliably reproduce that problem, then I'll be able to go back in and reproduce it myself and determine why that's happening. Okay. And yeah, shoot the cheese. That's how I used to be able to do it back when this was a constant issue. I was able to reproduce this all the time, but I'm not able to anymore. I've tried to do that. Can't seem to make it happen. But I will go in. I'll have that as a... Let me just make sure I do have that on my list. Water skiing, let's call it. Yeah, water skiing. So, okay, so we're 20 minutes in, and just for anybody who's popping in or out, what we're doing right now is we're just discussing some bugs in story mode for a second. Mostly stuff, people are pitching in things that are problems, but mostly I want to talk about things that are game breaking, where if they happen, you are hard locked. Most important is areas of the game where when you get to it, you cannot proceed. And the fact that we only have a couple of them and not a lot are coming up anymore, and these are from the reliable players that are on this game a lot, that's a good sign. That means that story mode is getting to a point where we don't have a lot of big, fat, stupid walls that are locking access. So the sheriff stage, the dudes that won't jump over the barricades, are you guys having issues with the orderly, the very first orderly jumping the counter to get to you in that blade room after you turn the blades off? Are you guys running into that? You are? Here. Let's go check it out. I'll show you how this is supposed to work, and maybe we can take a look in my test area to determine why it's not. Let's go to, what is that? Asylum, Com 1. Okay. All right, so that's going to be in... That's the very first room. This is the don't jump the counters. Yeah, that's the be friends with this guy. That's the friendship test. It's going to be this room right here. And that's room number 6. Okay, and this is door 6 goes to door 5. Yeah, 6 to 5 right there. So up in this room, we have a bunch of tester doors. We can link these to whatever we want. We have cheat door 1, cheat door 2, and this one goes to 6-5. Great, that's the one we want. So we'll go through that door. That'll take us right there. Come on, Hank, you can do it. God, do you guys remember when this was easy, this stage? All you have to do is press the left mouse button, Hank would just kill everything for you. Now you have to work for it. So, okay. So enemies don't know that they're standing next to something and that they want to jump it. That is too costly for AI. You can do that. That's not hard to program, but it's kind of silly to have characters decide constantly, am I next to something and do I want to jump it to go past it? There's a bunch of ways you can do it. Yes. Okay. The player can anticipate and look. We use our eyes. Your eyes and your brain are doing all the processing for me, so I don't have to code that in. You guys are doing it by deciding you want to jump it. For the orderly, it's not so easy, and I'll show you what's going on in the background here after we just confirm that he's not working. So, okay. That gives him enough time to come into the room. I found another one. I'll get him straps. Okay, so yeah, he doesn't want to do it, as we can see. And he's pretty much given up. He's just got to run across that thing forever. This issue is the same as the issue for the guys that aren't jumping the railing. What's happening in this room is we have, in front of any type of countertop or rail that someone's supposed to jump, that's going to be this room, that's going to be the station's power, or whichever, the station fortress, so the sheriff stage, where the guys won't jump off the ledge, and also the one residential stage, where you get the 20 different key cards out of the locker, but only one of them works. Jumping that as well. All those areas depend on something called a, let's find it. Well, it's just an event area, I think, isn't it? Oh, that one spawns the thing. That one does the thing there. Don't touch the blades. It's this here. Oh, it's the leap area. Okay, so this leap area, is it self-removing? No, it still exists. It's still there. Is it? It's not in the wrong room or something, right? Oh, is that why? You know what? What might be happening, or at least in this room. So this area that the dude was going into, this is how it works. When the guy touches that little collider, it's intangible, so you can't stand on it or be prevented from passing through it. The counter will do that, but this won't. The moment they even their collider slightly touches this thing, they leap it. And when they leap it, let me put my sprite editor over here. I'll tell you why later. I'm trying to make space on my off monitor so I can see chat while I have Unity running, because if I don't, then a bunch of stuff gets blocked. Sorry, let's take just a second, because I want to see what you guys are saying while I'm doing this. I'm not a streamer, guys. This doesn't come natural to me. There we go. I'm just a big stupid idiot programmer. I'm just the code monkey. Okay. All right. Almost done. Okay, cool. We're back. So, yeah, they touch that, they leap it. Anytime they touch it, even if they didn't want to leap it, so, gangrene, if you're trying to test this, The orderly's a pain in the ass to test this with, but I think if you push a guy into it, he might decide to leap it anyway. It may look like he's just trying to get away from you. I don't remember if it requires him to want to be moving it like through it. Like if he's walking through, check and see if he was intending to walk that way. Not unlike when a player walks towards a door, and the door will or will not open up for you depending on if you're trying to walk into it. So you can't be pushed in by enemies. That was something we added way, way, way back on like year number 2 of this game. Because enemies used to be able to shove you into a door, and you're just in a new room now. So anyway, this is dumb. This is just a dumb like developer error. For some reason, this area, this leap area, is in this room, even though physically it's over here. So that's already an issue. So we're going to fix that right now. So that's now in the correct room. Now we're going to test again. There's no way, by the way, that that's the problem, because there's 0% chance, that I did that in 3 different rooms in 3 different parts of the game. There's no way. If I did, that's hilarious. So that thing is going to be right here. As you see, I'm interacting. It's not, I'm sorry, I want to get to the right area. It's not causing my guy to do this. I have it set to NPCs only. So I wonder if I turn that off. And you see, there's a no Zeds tag, so zombies will never try to jump. Yes, see? NPCs only. Oh yeah, look. Hank is doing it. He jumped. I did not ask him to jump that. This time I'm doing it on purpose, but he jumped that without me asking him to. Well, that's funny. That's interesting. Let's go back to this area. That. Game. Yeah, that's weird. He did jump it on his own. I wonder if I'm jumping it on purpose. I wonder if it has something to do with waypoints. Like, if I grab... I can't drop the flashbang, but I can drop this. Okay, let's drop that there. If I move towards that... No. I'm doing just what the orderly does. Okay, so yeah, there's definitely then something wrong with this. Let's go check the sheriff stage right quick, just to see if he... Oh, and you see I changed the position in while the editor was running, but when you go back, it sets everything back where it was. Let's go check the sheriff stage and see if that thing is in the same spot. We'll do that later. Why don't we go ahead and actually look up the code, see what's going on. All right, here we go. So this is a very small thing. There's not really much going on. The code here says when this thing starts, when it first spawns into the world, destroy the mesh renderer and destroy the renderer. I could do that manually and just get rid of it here, but I like to keep the renderer on so I know where it is in the world when I'm assigning it. So now on trigger, enter collider. If it's not a character, if it's not the character that's running in, then that's colliding with it, then just ignore everything else. Don't even continue. So we're gonna go. What I like to do is just have tiers of test by adding debugs in. So we're gonna do test 1, test 2, and we're also going to call a reference to the guy that was doing the entering. Okay, so this is probably what's screwing it up. Okay, so this check determines if your guy's in his base state. If it's not, don't even worry about this guy. If he is not touching the floor, yeah, and then we'll add test number 3 down here. Because it could be something entirely different. Like I did some changes to dodging recently, and it could be that the dodging changes are treating it are affecting the vaulting test. So this is where we determine if this area here is what's at fault, or after it's done all of the tests that it's supposed to and passes it over to the character and says, "Hey, try to vault all over, like over this thing over here. Is this where the issue is?" So if we see test 3 appear on the debug screen, and we're going to drag this over here, let's put it right there. If we see it appear over here, test 3, we know that that is working. It does say test. We'll know that this leap area is working, and then that's that. This is what I do every day, guys. This is why the game takes so long. Right now, this is one bug requiring... I know it's taking time for me to explain it, but this is one bug involving jumping over a counter. All right. See that? It passed test 2, did not pass test 3. Test 1 is just whether or not he collided. It did recognize that it's Hank, so that's fine. So we know it's never hitting test 3, so we come back in here. we're going to check my state. This dude dot state. Now we test, is he touching the floor? This dude, am touching floor. Oh wait, also, yeah, it's trans squad means transition squad, just like gender transition. Yes, Gangrene. Only in this case, it's transitioning from scene to scene. So I'll bet you anything. Hold on. First off, I did forget to do something here before we make those changes, and I save. I want to go over to back to the leap area in the inspector and turn off NPCs. That's giving us a false negative because I forgot to turn that off. So this time, yeah, look, test 3. So we don't have to test anymore here. We now know. Nice one, Hank. We now know that this leap area is working because we're getting to test 3. Okay, so we know that works. This thing is doing its job. It's now telling him, hey, attempt to vault in this direction. So what could be happening is it's checking, all right, this dude calculated direction. So it might be that we don't want to be using calculated direction. It might be that we want to use the direction. Well, we'll figure it out in a second, just so you understand what that is. Calculated direction. There's a variety of stages that determine how you move in this game. And the first one is my controller direction, which, just like it sounds, looks at your WASD or your controller control pad directions, or your stick direction, and determines which way you want to go. That's controller direction. NPCs don't have that. They only have waypoint directions, and that is a calculated direction that determines if you're using this, your controller direction, then use that. If you have a waypoint and you're following a waypoint, use that instead. So calculated direction is the direction you're trying to go. That should be working. I don't know why that wouldn't be working. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it so that once you get to this thing here, we need to check which way you're going. So we're going to draw a ray. And after this, I want to get into Arena right after this. But we're going to do a quick test to show you how this thing sort of works. You understand what the weight of game development is like, especially from the bug fixing perspective, and in this case, the coding perspective. So we want to, what it's doing is it's attempting a vault, and the direction that it's checking against, check direction, we input that into the vault. And what that'll do is it looks to see if the direction that you're checking is working. We know it works because if I, actually, you know what? Let's see if it is. If I, here, wait, hold on. I left something, it's like I left something broken and open. Yeah, oh, of course, it's the thing I'm actually working on. I forgot I saved that. Okay, I just want to double check that if I dash against that cover, will I leap it? If it doesn't, then that's the problem. And we don't even have to worry about these leap areas, that it has nothing to do with that. So if I walk into this thing and I dash against it, I leap against it, no problem. If I'm standing up against it like that, it still works. I'm pushing up against it, still works. If I hold hard dodge, this time I'm doing proper dodge instead of zip dash. So hard dodge into it, still works, and you get killed there. That is kind of a suicide trap, isn't it? No, it isn't. Oh, that is though. I might get rid of that one piece of cover and make it so it's like centered instead, because it's not like you need to use that as actual cover. Okay. So we know that works, and the direction that it's checking against is the direction that I'm running as I do this, I think. Yeah, the direction I'm walking. So we know that works. So we know that's not the problem. We know that cover is grabbing you and sending you vaulting as it's supposed to. So I would suspect then that maybe this thing is, yeah, see, direction and towards me. This way we don't try to re-leap the moment, drop off, the moment we drops off the countertop. Yeah, so what's possible is that it's taking the direction that that you want to move, and it's adding in the difference between the direction of the object doing the checking. In this case, that's this block from this center point right here. And I think I want the center point to be there. I could move this up like that, but then the center point is there. But I like that it's on the floor. I think it's supposed to be. And this character's position here. I wonder if that's it. I don't know. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to come back to this later because I could just work on this all day. This could be 20 minutes before I figure this out, and then you guys are just sitting here watching that. That's fine by me, but I want to actually do some town hall stuff first. So we'll come back to that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Arena Club. Hold on, let me see. This guy here. This is, I think you saw Matt streaming this or sharing it. This is the now older version of the new club. This is not what appears in the game. I like the idea of still introducing this as a potential stage, as its own thing. But this is not what you're going to see in the contract mission, because the club is going to appear there, but it won't be this one. But I like the idea of still using this for something. Maybe a different like infiltration mission or something. But yeah, I don't want to just get rid of these. And you can see characters are already starting, even though I haven't pressed enter. So as you can see, not finished yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the... I want to start with the gas station. Okay.
Were we done taking the game-breaking bugs?
Okay. So, yeah, so something we're going to do, I haven't run any of your FBX updates yet, Matt, but I can do that in the background while we talk. So, okay. Oh yeah, Blue Mondays. Oh yeah, the original office stage. Yeah, I would like to have an office stage too. I do want to play with those. That might be something we talk about today. We may come back to it, but that is something Matt and I talked about, is the potential for more stages. Not like the old arena, not like that. At the end of the day, we're trying to create an experience with arena mode, and we don't want there to be just so many stages that they're all just the same gameplay in different spots. That could be fun. And it might be fun, but then you end up with people that'll just pick one or two stages that are just the ones they always play. And we would rather have like a tightly knit, finely tuned set of stages that are just a good handful of stages, rather than a bunch of like whatever stages that are easy to abuse, and we don't have time to test them all and balance them all. And there's a lot of concerns that we have that originally kept us, especially deadline stuff and getting this game finished, that have stopped us from wanting to go that direction. We just don't have enough people to test as many stages as we'd like, and have them be as detailed as we want. So, yeah, and there probably won't be any more pizza delivery missions. That was a neat idea that'll probably never come back. Although we did bring back the pizza box for the chef in Contract 2, because why not? Okay, so I guess this is, now that we're already like 40 minutes in, what I want to talk about with arena mode with you guys is the hangups. Like, what are some of the major problems that we're having with the fun factor? And I guess we'll take it stage by stage. Yeah, progress is definitely one of them. Okay, so how long would you guys say? Feel free to just like spitball it. I doubt any of you guys really timed it. Maybe some of you guys did, but how long would you say you're spending on stages? Let's talk pilot mission. The tutorial doesn't matter, so the sleeper thing, don't worry about that. But between the foundry, between pit stop, between murder room, and between the train stage. And again, I always forget what we call them, because the scenes are different named. Yeah, you think 45 minutes, 2 hours? Is that how long you're spending on each one? Yeah, and feel free to just spit it in chat, like whatever you guys think you're spending time-wise on those stages in order to complete them. Yeah, pilot episode. Yeah, the contract missions, those seem pretty fast. I'm happy with the pacing on those. Yeah, to get to the checkpoint, to consider to the final checkpoint. So no infinite waves, just to complete it. And don't worry about the contract missions. We're just talking pit stop, foundry, murder room, and the frickin' train stage. The frickin' train stage. Fast track. Yeah. Yeah, so train stage, foundry, gas station, and murder room. What do we got? And this is per, and I'm asking like per stage, give or take. Not total. Okay. All right, so I think what we're going to try to do is, like, because we want, sorry, I was having a bite. So what we want is, we want people to be able to, like, players to have, like, we want you to want to play in these stages a lot, you know? Like if you're in gas defense, we want to make it fun enough where you don't mind that there aren't 2 or 3 more stages that are kind of like it when you could just be playing in the gas defense. And there's obviously the visual fatigue of seeing the same thing. Foundry probably needs to have its lights bumped down because it's a very bright stage to be staring at for long amounts of time. Gas defense is a bit dark, and it might need some light to kind of brighten up certain areas. But also, I mean, gameplay is the most important thing. If a stage is fun and ugly, it's fun and ugly, and that's we would prefer that over the alternative, I think. So what we try to do is make these like tight experiences where you don't mind playing for hours on a stage, but we don't need to do that by requiring you to spend 2 hours on a stage just to get past it the very first time. Because many of these stages are one room. And even in the one infiltration stage that we have live, Fast Track, the train stage, you're still in rooms that are very similar for a long time before it starts to loop back on itself. And that's just one checkpoint, then you have to go through and do it again. So we spent a lot of time this past week while I was out of town. We weren't off the clock. We spent a lot of time working out what are these big issues, and we decided to do for it what we did for story mode. And we should have done this in the first place, which was how many hours do we want a player to spend getting through arena mode from the moment you get off that bus and kick the ass of Boss Man, turn the power on, get the lights going, and step into the tutorial. How much time from that moment, from that tutorial being complete, to the end of the game when you're enmeshing the Mandatus, whatever that means, how much time do we want to have spending, or the player spending from that beginning moment at the end of the tutorial to the completion of the final contract mission when you've quote unquote beaten the game? And we decided we want it somewhere in the vicinity of from 4 to 6 hours. 6 would be great, but we need the content to support that. That means more stages based on what we're looking at. So 4 to 5 feels more what we're looking at. And that means we don't want players spending... let me actually flip to my notes because I took a bunch of these. So we want you spending about 20 minutes in every, like, let's say, stage. So if you've opened up the Foundry for the first time, 20 minutes in the entire Foundry before you've beaten all the checkpoints. Same thing with really any of them. You spend between 20 minutes, if you are I don't want to say professional gamer, but you're an experienced gamer who hasn't played that stage before, but you're still decent at gaming, so you're likely not to die and start over very often. We want you spending about 20 minutes in that. 30 or 40, it will artificially get bumped up because you're going to spend time buying items, equipping your guy, searching around the base, absorbing the world, as well as outfitting and maybe even replaying maps. That's up to the player. But if somebody was streamlining it, right, like Tori was saying, like if you're rushing through it, 20 minutes per stage. That's what we're thinking. That of course does mean if we only have 6 stages in the game, not including the contracts, that's only 2 hours of gameplay, and also not including the tutorial. That's 2 hours of gameplay before the player decides to go back in and do the infinite stages or the infinite waves, final checkpoints. That means that we want to start reining things in. So if we have a stage that has 9 total waves, say 3 checkpoints, then for waves, let's see, waves 1 through 3 means you have to beat all 3 waves in about 4 minutes, so that 4 through 6 can be a little bit longer at 6 minutes, and waves 7 through 9 at about 10 minutes. Mathematically, that means the first wave, you should beat it in 1 minute and 30 seconds, if that, or 1.3 minutes, sorry. So more like 1 minute and 20 seconds. And that's a bit fast for a stage. So we're thinking of starting to reel it back. And we're going to start restructuring the differences between battle stages, which is Foundry and Murder Room, infiltration stages, which is Fast Track, eventually Facility, and maybe other stages that are like them. Like I have an idea for a really cool, I don't even know which way it would work, but we talked about like a haunted house thing, Matt.
Oh, yeah.
I've had an idea for like a house that you start off on the grounds on the outside, and then you go into the inside, and then you end up in the ballroom or something.
Oh, no,
yeah.
Especially if we like fucking weird looking.
Yeah.
Like not
Yeah, I'd love to see like how easy would it be to have like we can have all this furniture, but it's not really furniture you see. It's all got like sheets over it, so it's like easy to model. Just a couple like just some like shading on there to some painted and ambient occlusion kind of thing. Also, can you guys hear Matt when he talks? By the way, he's talking from. Okay, he's quiet because he's like 6-7 feet away from the mic, and I'm right in front of it. Okay, yeah, just mostly so you guys don't think I'm schizophrenic and talking to myself. Yeah, Matt is here. We can't do 2 mics because it'll be super. You guys will start to think you're schizophrenic. Yeah. So, yeah, and then we'll have and then there's the siege stages like the pit stop and the other siege stage that we had an idea for, which we'll get to eventually. And we're starting to think of ideas that start to break it apart. So why don't we look at each of the 3 different types of missions? We'll start with battle rooms, and that's going to be Foundry and Murder Room. And let's figure out what sucks about those stages, okay? So why don't we do Foundry first? Because Foundry is kind of earlier. One thing I don't like about Murder Room is the symmetry. I talked to Gangrene about this, and I know some other folks had some issues. Going up on the top level, nobody goes up there, do they? You guys don't use the top area in the back, do you? Do you? Dark Signal does. Snobross does. Okay, so some people do. And yeah, Gangrene, I agree. It's a hike to get up there, and there's only 2 access points. There might as well be 1 access point because they're identical access points. It's a mirror image. Yeah.
It's doing something.
Yeah. Yeah, Bill says Bill uses it for a regeneration recharge spot. These guys all spawn towards the bottom and have to come to you, so it gives you a place to kind of recuperate, to convalesce. Okay. Yeah, Torby's right. We want to have, most stages need to have some sort of a loop that you can run, just like you see in the gas station. You want to be able to run around. You want to be able to evade the big guys. Since once they're on you, they will sometimes still go for the gas pumps. We're going to change that, and we'll get to that. Let's see. Shoot the Cheese is saying. Oh yeah. I'll look into more stopgap things to just get that going. But there are like blockers to prevent them from seeing you while they're up there. So even though they can't see you, they still know they can jump off the ledge. It is possible that guys will take pot shots from up there, but it's not supposed to happen. I will double check that. What I might do, I might have little areas like zones that every now and then check to see if there's dudes inside of them, and flip a collider on and off so it re-triggers them. And if they're in there, send them out. Like anybody that's in here, get out and go to this area. So let me, I guess I can call those like evacuation areas. Let me evac areas / zones. Okay, that's written down. Yeah, I've always wanted something like that. I prefer just having it so the pathfind doesn't fail in the first place. But honestly, you could blow a guy up there with up with a grenade and be an agent, so he doesn't know to come after you, and he might lose his interest and just sort of wander around up there. And it shouldn't work that way. It should not work. And we'll get back to the gas station, Gangrene. I want to focus first on the battle rooms, and that's misleading because I'm sitting here on the gas station. So let me go to the Foundry just for a moment. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's right. Pumpkin. Yeah, that's actually. So you're describing something that always should have been like part of this game and kind of is with middle mouse button to tell your guys stay here. Now, defensive points also kind of mean like they sort of imply protect anything in this area also, right? So if a dude is hitting a gas pump, prioritize the guy that's attacking the gas pump, right? Which I think I want to do. I want to have these things broadcast like, hey, I'm under attack. Anybody nearby that wasn't assigned in order to go kill that particular dude or follow this particular character, if you're either unassigned and nearby or even told to defend that spot, go back and defend it. Yeah, I do kind of like that idea. All right, so we'll get to the gas pumps because that one's going to have an overhaul. Battle rooms, I think with the Foundry, we're going to leave it more or less the way that it is, but only require you to play it for like I said, 20 minutes, and then you never have to look at the stage again unless you want to. Not because it's a bad stage, but because it is just one room, and I can't imagine somebody playing 4 hours in this one room. We just need to give you more places to have more gameplay. So if you want to come back and do the infinite waves here, that's good, but this will be a nice, easy room. There probably won't be any gunners, or there will be one gunner right at the end as a boss, and then you're done. I think the sergeants and captains, if they even appear in arena mode, will come in later with future Merc missions. But this stage is going to be made a ton easier, so you can fly through it. Because, I mean, you've just beaten the pilot, and then we want, or the pilot, not the pilot, but the pilot stage, pilot episode. You've just completed your first contract, and we throw you in here against gunners. I understand that that's tough, and we are still trying to work on balancing. Robots are a little too hard for characters of this level. Those guys should not be spawning in this stage. This will probably be a bunch of laborers and merc grunts with maybe a Sarge thrown in from time to time to keep it like interesting. But it may be a rusty robot, but nothing difficult. Not like Nexus robots, obviously. Not that they're spawning here. But we're really going to reel the stage back and make it so that lower level characters have a chance here. If we don't do that, we have to come up with a solution to make this a more difficult stage and put this later, is the alternative. But yeah, and gunners, right? Gunners one at a time without a crowd of enemies to support them are not that hard. They might, yeah, well, but we'll play with the difficulty. I would prefer keeping the Foundry in early stage, like with the pit stop with the gas station. So, although this stage will stay about the same, I then want to open up the murder room about the same time as it does now. However, and Matt's working on other murder room alternatives simultaneously. Hold on, this is story mode. You know? Are we talking about gas defense? Or no, we want to go to murder room. Oh yeah, old murder room. Hello, old murder room. I still love this stage. It's the original old tiny murder room. Yeah, that song was written specifically for that. Yeah. Yeah, and then the other murder rooms came in after when we're like, hey, make us a Mortal Kombat. Remember that, Devin? Okay.
There was a lot of requests over time. I just did it.
There we go. I didn't have anybody muted, but my volume is way too low. But I'm good now. Okay. Ifunkel is in, but he's muted. Okay, so murder room. Look at this mess. Look at all this crap that can happen here. I still want lasers, but maybe not there. Lasers need to be something different.
Could we do like fireball shooters?
It's a new FBX and everything. So
not yet. We'll do that for a different day. I mean, even this week. But first, I just want to talk about like what is broken here. Cobbler, I think we're not going to let people take weapons out of stages. Junk weapons, I think we're just going to continue to let those be what they are, which is you can use them in that stage. One of the reasons for that is it lets us drop amazing weapons in a stage and not have players bypass the $25,000 price tag to purchase it themselves through earning it. It basically fucks up the economy. I used to like it. I mean, I love the idea that to make money in the game, you'd do a mission, but you'd also scavenge the pieces of stuff that you wanted to keep. I loved it. And it really hurts me to get rid of that, but it defeats the purpose of what we're trying to build. It's basically an unfortunate cut that we didn't want to have to make. But hopefully allowing access to the war chest between waves at least compensates for that a little bit. And yeah, and we didn't really think of it as farming money. I mean, yes, farming money, but it was also part of our intention. But because of that, we basically made it so enemies were spawning in with crap weapons to guarantee that you never got good ones. And then you would know which stages, like the engineer brings in the katana, you know which stages to look forward to for that. And then you just farm that for the katana, and then you had it. Okay, so... Oh yeah, Torby, you're talking about a med pack. That could be an interesting thing for a grenade as a med pack. It's not impossible.
losing a lot of those knives.
Yeah, it does basically like if you're not going for acrobatics and you don't need that, then that would be a nice to have. I'm not against it, and I would love for engineers to have that in like that you use it on like what if you didn't use it on yourself but you could use it on others, for example, and
you use it.
if there's like an area of effect or something. Like everybody stand here.
Maybe you just like throw it down and someone can eat it and get a corpus.
Oh yeah, like what is that? Like Left 4 Dead style ammo boxes or whatever.
Like the
Everybody get your explosive ammo. Throw it down. Yeah, that's a nice to have. That's one of those things where I do like it. We've talked about having engineers throw down portable shields to block up areas, that kind of thing. It would be easy to put down like some Halo-esque shields that are bullet blockers but don't block passage. That way people can't use it to. Yeah,
Battlefield had that.
Yeah, it would just be like little plasma shields. You can walk through them or something. You know, maybe it hurts you to walk through.
Yeah.
We always thought we would have only engineers, players can't use it, and they would do that as a storied event to run in and use it in a spot. So it was planned. But having things like Tori was saying, just like Bear Trap. Bear Trap is cute, but I would want it to like really show that you like it's stuck to the guy, which we could do. And don't get me wrong, as a Space Station 13 player, I love the idea of a Bear Trap. But priority would be things like claymores and landmines. Yeah, I'd love to have mines.
I think
Yeah. We'd have to really that would take some focus and balancing. That sounds more like something we'd add as like an expansion later, like free DLC. Just because it's a great thing to have, but the game's got to get finished first. And those could change the way the game is structured. They do need a lot of balancing testing. But we'll get back to like cool to have stuff later. Mostly, I want to talk about so let's eviscerate Murder Room. Does like if this stage sucks or if it's awesome, like let's go piece by piece. The drop floors, for example. Are the drop floors preventing you from playing the game? Let's talk about these guys first. Drop floors or not? Yeah, because we're going to have them in some capacity, in this stage especially. Yeah, they are helpful. I want Murder Room to be about... Oh wait, why are those going down? The stage hasn't even started. Is that supposed to happen? It's not supposed to happen, is it? Huh, okay, well that's a bug. Those are not supposed to do that while the stage is not started. Okay. Drop floors. Make that a bug. I'm writing this down. Drop floors. Initiate. Between waves. There we go. I like to talk while I write so people know what's... I'm assuming this guy's also going to activate. Yep. I'm assuming you noticed I made the timer on those guys slower so that you have more time to get across now. So even a slow character should be able to sprint across without a problem. I think one of my problems with the top area is that there's not really much area to fight except for in these little like ridges or ledges, I guess. And the problem is that thing still does drop you. So there's not really much area to fight up here, and you get kind of... It's a little tight for a game that's supposed to have like tactical combat with moving around and whatnot. Honestly, well, we don't have any things that push you off up here because that drop floor is supposed to effectively serve that purpose. Yeah, like this is what pushes you down to the next floor. Is that. Now I'm here. Now I have to fight down here. Yeah, also one of the problems with this stage is the enemies. We picked all the kooky enemies for the stage. Oh yeah, I hope you guys like that you can... Oh wait, why is it doing the red flash? It's not supposed to do that if it's block hand versus hand. Yeah, like that worked. Yeah, I think the crit timing might be broken, by the way, guys. I'm sure Gangrene will say, I told you so. Bam. Because I can land perfect blocks every time, but I tend to have problems doing counters. So I think there is an issue. Oh, mash dodge. I'm still doing the old way. Away. Anyway, I don't mean to play this, so do that. Okay. Yeah, let me. That's definitely a bug. It's not supposed to be doing the red block thing when it's unarmed versus unarmed. Red block on unarmed. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Xander Colley was saying, disliking Murder Room, infinite turns to death pits and insta kill pits. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if I want to get rid of the insta kill pits, but I'd rather make it easier to avoid them. Where if you're stuck being juggled by enemies on a pit that's about to drop, or a floor that's about to drop you, I want you to be able to say, "Shoot, I got myself into that situation. I know what I could have done to not be in there in the first place." Because I like the risk it all death factor. But one thing we might do to compensate for that is if it can end in a blink of an eye, I'd rather give you bigger bonuses for completing waves in Infinite, so that the risk is higher, the reward should be higher as well, at the very least. So I'll think about that. Let's see. I want to go through some of what you guys are saying here. And yeah, Pumpkin. Also, that's something that I'm hoping the new battle room is going to take care of. So Matt and I have an idea for murder rooms to make them not quite like they are now, but to also make them not quite like all the other stages. So we would keep Foundry the same way that it is now. A little, basic enemies. Let the hazards be the real challenge of the stage. Let the Zerkers be the ones that make you want to move around and. Because if they knock you down on those conveyors, that could be deadly, and I really like that. I don't want to get rid of that. Foundry is supposed to introduce you to the idea that battle rooms are dangerous because of the hazards, and the enemies are playing into those hazards the same way that you, the player, should be doing the same exact thing to beat them. At least that's the intention. So something I'm thinking here is I want for these stages, and also Pumpkin, I'm okay with that to a degree. You can juke Zerkers off because they leap at you. You can do the same thing with Patience because they leap at you. But we're going to start introducing probably new enemy types into Murder Room, where I don't want to talk too much about it until we have some stuff settled, because Matt and I want to start doing some prototyping. But I want it to feel like they are dumb arcade enemies straight out of Smash TV. And again, I won't get into specifics, but I'm talking like a door over here will open with a little green alarm, and a door over here will open with a little green alarm, and guys will just start pouring out of it on both sides. Boom, 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 boom. But they're not Asylum Patients. They're not like tricky strategic enemies like Nexus guys. These are just dudes like zombies, but without zombie abilities, that just walk at you. And they come at you, think of like It Follows, except there's dozens of them. And they die in a hit, and they're always coming for you. So you are forced to blow through so much ammo, and you can feel like a mega badass doing your charge-up attack and killing all of them instantly in one hit as they just die off. Then they'll be backed up, and they'll all look identical, and they'll all come in hand-to-hand. Then you'll have another group of guys coming in interspersed with other abilities. And they're basically swarm enemies. That's the idea. And so you can kill them. It's basically, think of any Newgrounds defense game, like top down, camera follows you, guys come in from a circle from like all different directions around you. Except in this case, it's the structure of the stage that allows that. And as they're doing it, if a guy has a gun, he's not strategic in communicating with his allies that he's going to shoot you. Instead, what he's going to do is he's going to aim his gun in your direction, and every 3 seconds he's going to go pop and shoot, and that's it. If he's using an automatic weapon, burst fire, burst fire. And you can run and avoid it. No problem. These are just dumb enemies on a basic script. And I'm thinking that if we can get battle rooms to feel like you are just annihilating hordes and hordes of enemies, I'm talking like 200 guys might come into a stage in Murder Room, but they're just falling in droves, like Dynasty Warrior style. I think that we can get Murder Room to be a lot more fun, where you use these like areas to not only, like you're using hazards to create a defensible area where they can't get you from that direction. It's not quite juking them, because they're like lemmings, but they're not going to walk off ledges if they can help it. They'll still try to pathfind around to get to you. But we're thinking if we can create or modify this, let's say modify this stage in a way, like maybe there's a ramp right here instead, and a ramp right here, so you don't go across the top. But then this side should be different from this side. The structure of the drop pits shouldn't be identical to the way that they are now. Maybe we'll keep one side of the stage the way it is, and then this will be a ramp that comes back down, and then this could be something different over here. Something to make it feel like the game is a little bit different in every area. But this I'm thinking that's probably what we're going to do for battle rooms, and that way we can have more than one murder room that is effectively the same kind of game, whether it's the second murder room that you face or the 20th murder room. We're not going to have that many, but just for point of concept. You'll fight the same enemies coming in. It's the same stupid grunts in their little white t-shirts, and then the red grunts with the guns, and then the green grunts with the sniper rifles, and you'll fight more advanced enemies as you go in different stages, but the stages themselves, the hazards, will be what makes them more complicated, and will be what makes them more difficult and challenging for you, the player, as the enemies start to take advantage of these things. Not because they're smart, not because they're tactical, but because eventually it starts to become a mess as you don't clean up the enemies that are swarming you. So there's a bunch of complications with a stage like this, namely balance and processor, because the game isn't meant to have 40 guys on screen at the same time, so we have to find ways of getting this to work without the game overcrowding and ruining people's experience because there's just too many dudes on the screen. And there's a couple things we can do for that. So we need to prototype that before we go too far into it. But yeah, so problems with the existing murder room, to start getting that to fit in, we have to understand what the problem is. 15, I'm thinking 15 to 20 guys on screen at a time would be fine. And what you'll probably see is those 15 to 20 guys will come in, you kill them all, or you get within like 5 guys left or something, and then the doors will open again, and then the next 15 to 20 guys will spawn in. And it'll just keep going like that. So yeah, let's tackle some more problems with Murder Room. If you feel like I didn't acknowledge you, feel free to spit that back in a chat, because I might have missed it. All right, so yeah, Snob, what you're describing actually could be something like a battle room where they do all spawn in. We had a stage like that. Was one of the old training rooms with the VR guys in the old arena. Was guys would just come in from one direction, and you had to 300 hotgates it as they came in. And we can do stuff like that, so long as it's still something that works for both melee and ranged. And a combination of both would be even better. And yeah, Training Room 3, where they came in from both sides, was awesome. 2 was good too, where they just came from the 1, but 3 was fun. I liked that you had to run back and forth as they came in. And yeah, reposting is fine. Thank you, Pumpkin. Yeah, I agree. I don't think I want cover in Murder Room anymore. What I'd rather have is objects that you can, like things that obstruct so they can't shoot you, but cover, I think, doesn't do it for me. So what I'd rather this be is, instead of cover, I would rather this whole thing be an island that floats up, so that people can run around it and use ramps to get up to it, but this is suspended. Or even down. At least some way where you can use the walls as cover, not chest highs as cover. So I agree. I would want to get rid of that. All right, let me see. Yeah, upper area needs more space. Yeah, it's him. I was saying the same thing earlier, that I don't like that it's basically... You shouldn't really have to fight on ramps, Like, you shouldn't have to fight on passageways like this. Like this, you could fight somebody here and it would work, but in a swarm stage, which this is still a swarm stage, that doesn't really work well. You get overloaded with dudes, you can drop off the ledges, and that's fine. At least you're not walled in, so you're not stuck. But especially because you can't really fight up on this thing. Maybe if each of these was 2 different droppers, so you had some way to like space it out, maybe. Like that's 1, but the way that this guy's like 2. If that thing was also 2, I think that would work. But yeah, the upper area needs more space, or at the very least, I think we're just going to get rid of the upper area, make that dropper, like get rid of this dropper also, or make it so that dropper isn't as far back as it is, but instead is like just this part right here, the front part, and this back area can be an elevator that goes up and down, and then you can ride the elevator, enemies can ride the elevator, and that could be one way of getting like up here and then back down. But the elevator wouldn't affect over here. Like this area would probably have to be a lot more open. Because yeah, we need a lot more open areas, and it needs to be somewhat maze-like, but not really like a maze, because mazes kind of imply corridors, and corridors are not fun to fight in this game, especially not in swarm stages. That does make me wonder, Matt, if in swarm stages, if you have 10 gray grunts that just want unarmed you coming after you, will they swarm you the way zombies do, and is that okay? Or should they come at you and sort of like, one guy's hitting you and they sort of wait, not really in line, but kind of like take their time or something? We'll have to really figure this out.
Some ideas about,
and that could be okay, because that's also part of the game mode, is that
you gotta.
Yeah, just keep taking swings at them. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Gangrene, you're talking about the locker room in one room of the game. I'm talking about 20 minutes to an hour spent fighting in a stage where a viable tactic is to escape guys over here. And we've put this in here as a viable part of this stage. But you're describing one challenge room. Yeah, let's see, maze stage. Yeah, but of course when I say maze, Pumpkin, I'm not talking like multiple rooms like a story mode. I mean like just this one area. Like for example, this is kind of a maze. Like if this was blocked off right here where I'm running, and enemies coming down the ramp had to like go down here and then come up here and then come here, kind of like a tower defense game, I guess. I mean like that, more like a maze-like corridor, like in a tower defense game. So yeah, we're gonna make siege mode work a little bit more like tower defense, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so I'm getting some ideas with the murder room. Is there any stuff that if we like, are there any improvements, let's say, that this murder room does over the other ones? Because like, one thing I hated about Murder Room 5 was that there was no way, really, other than those like 2 cover blocks, there was no way to stop you from getting shot once those fences went up. There was just a shooting gallery from wall to wall, both for you, the player, to take out anybody coming, though you can't see them, and enemies coming in from doors where you can't see them either, but they can see you. So Torby, when you say more obstacles, you mean like these things, like the chest eyes? Oh, traps. Okay. Yeah, I agree with the traps. I want it to be more stuff happening. One thing I want to use more in murder rooms is moving floors that aren't meant to kill. They can. Like, imagine spokes on a bike, and that rotates from time to time. That makes bridges connect with different areas that they weren't connected to before. Stuff like that. I'd love to see like a central area that rotates. Not all at once or constantly, like in those freaking Mario 64 haunted stages, but or that one that had that one in particular. But something that every now and then just cha-chunk changes, like a clock changing its hour, which I know is a bad example, but just thunk, it just changes all at once, waits 30 seconds, then cha-chunk changes again. Yeah. Right. Now, one problem I have with Crusher areas is I don't want to insta-kill people unless we can help it. Like, we get to choose to do that on infinite mode. But and crushers also kind of screw with physics, so I get a little bit afraid of them unless we can hide it. So yeah, crushers that come down from the sky, we can do like the one in the Gestalt stage works, because it's not really a physics collider under there. It's an area that jams you.
Yeah. I would figure not. Yeah, I wouldn't trust Unity. Say like, are you in the...
Right, but I guess it depends on how it's structured. But we have to bear that in mind as we create crushers. So Pumpkin, I was actually saying for these lift boys, I'm thinking of making this thing here stop and end right here, basically flush with the door wall right here, so it doesn't drop way back against the wall. And instead of this lift up top, or the drop floor up top, instead make that an elevator that goes up and down. Because we are basically going to tear out, like, let's say the right side of the room, for example, keep the left the way it is, so you do have those like things up there that you can mess with. But then over here, just kind of change this a little bit, and so we'll have an elevator that'll like lift you up. We're gonna go through some incarnations before this thing is finished. And I might actually make something in just using Unity base objects, primitive objects, and throw some ideas together myself outside of Blender, just here in Unity, using like native stuff, just to come up with some ideas. Yeah, Torby, I think you're talking like if we gave a guy like kind of like, I guess the syringe gun, but not quite. So long as it's not annoying, yeah, as long as it's not annoying, like maybe a guy that shoots little tiny mini bolts the way that George does, something that kind of heat seeks you can easily dodge, but if you're not paying attention, you get zapped. Something like that could be kind of neat. But yeah, as far as this murder room goes, would you say what all right, like let's, I guess this is not really a strange question, but maybe this will help. Compare this to like whatever your favorite murder room was. Does this still excel? Is this the best murder room? It's got its problems, but is it still the best murder room compared to the other ones, the old ones? What was and yeah, if not, then what was your favorite? Torby, you liked the elevator? Yeah, elevator was interesting. I liked that you had to dodge physical things moving around in the world. And I'd love to bring back those lasers again if we had them from the ceiling and just like they were like etching out areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to have those again. Yeah. And yeah, you know how like Tricky's laser wall in each of the two Tricky fights, the different incarnations came from the ceiling? I think I'd prefer having the laser wall do that here as well. Instead of going across the entire map, have the laser come from the ceiling.
That way we can put it anywhere.
Yeah, I don't like having things come from the ceiling if I can help it. But, I mean, hell with it. Because things coming from the ceiling block huge swaths of the map. And it could be like, it could be going across the part that I'm standing, like, let's say the laser wall came right here. I could be up here fighting, and that laser wall is blocking my view from everything else, just because it's like...
Especially if you're on the...
Yeah, and you can still see it. And if it's coming from like a bar, that bar could be blocking your view. You know, floating the way that the arms come down in the Robot Crusher, like the pushy fight in the last leg stage. Mm-hmm. So in the museum, like those arms that come down and block your view. I did the best I could to make it so that they wouldn't.
Well, they're placed.
They're on the outsides, at least to help.
It just kind of.
Yeah. But yeah, so lasers from the ceiling. I want to have lasers, but because I freaking love lasers. But that does create a problem. One way would be to make them go left and right, would be like up and down, like that. So at least like, yeah, it's blocking your view, but it's blocking your view and reminding you, hey, you may want to move soon because those lasers will be a problem in a minute. So maybe having lasers go up and down across the stage would be great. From the ceiling, that way it's not wiping entire kill areas. So get rid of the laser kill wall, for example. But we're not getting rid of lasers. That's a fact.
No, I love it.
Yeah, we just got to make them work. Yeah, fire lasers. That's a thing we can do. In fact, can I do that right now just for fun?
Like,
yeah, let's see.
there's not enough stuff, honestly, and there's only like, I like the idea that the experiment would have even more because he's a fucking.
Yeah, we need to have fire traps consistently across most, if not all, battle rooms. That's a constant factor. The Foundry will teach you, and then all future murder rooms will do as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Swain. Can you hear me?
What's up, Lochner?
Hey, I gotta run for a meeting here in 10 minutes. Do you mind if I hijack this for a minute? Just kind of ping everybody about audio questions?
Yeah, since we got you. Sure.
Yeah, guys, do you have any weirdness you notice with the audio, particularly sound effects? And besides Abominations being obnoxiously loud, I fixed it.
Is that build? I have a question. Do you have that build for me? Because I can put that in soon.
I sent that up a couple weeks back. You didn't get it? Well, a week, like at least 2 weeks ago.
I'll need a link. I guess we'll handle that on the side then. But yeah, if you can relink me to that or pin.
Yeah, I'll just re-upload it. I'll get it to you.
Or if you pinned the upload, if it's still available.
Oh, it's gone. My cloud storage is crap, so I have to re-upload it.
Okay. Yeah, the story protagonists, I think, Gangrene, that they're low on purpose because I've already limited how often player squad mates will talk. It's much less often than anybody else because you will see them a lot in the game and get tired of their audio. I think that we pinched them down as well so that you don't hear them as often in that regard as well. Snob Ross is saying train stages music. Which one is that? That's Filtration 1 uses Vulture Feast and Work of Fiction. We'll have to figure out which one it is.
Yeah, because I'm just checking because anything on the Fmod side of things, or if there's stuff that has to be redone, that's just stuff I'd like to keep in mind going down the next, as we get towards the end game, as it were.
Pumpkin, that issue with the SCAR and audio cutting out, that's the number of channels running low. That's not going to be a Devon thing. I'll handle that as a bug on the side. That's going to be for me to look at. But I had that written down as of now. I'll check it out. That's not supposed to happen. When a gun fires off a round, it's supposed to... when it fires a second round, it's supposed to cut off the previous one and use the same channel. I don't know why it's doing that.
Yeah. Hang on. Until my KM switch starts working, I gotta switch my stuff by hand. Okay, got my mouse back. Go through this.
Let's see. So is it Work of Fiction then? Is it the one that goes down, 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 down? Is it that one that's looping poorly, or is it the? It's Vulture Feast. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that's just a whole loop. And I'll pop open Fmod while we're looking, talking. Shuriken loops forever. Let's see.
All right, yeah. Let me go look at the when Button Man opens up. Dark Signal. Are you talking about the good stage?
Trying to think. What's Shurikens are just they're not looping. I don't think. Oh, there are looping sounds. We just have to have them turn off if they keep looping forever.
Well, which ones are we talking about?
It looks like I've got Throne Light Alt Loop and Throne Light Loop. So they are looping sounds. They just have to be told to stop when they hit something. They probably just don't have a stop event.
Well, I see them all as... Oh, wait. Oh. Alt loop, wait. Oh, no, those are fine. Those aren't being used for that.
Then what's the Shuriken looping? I'm trying to think what that might be.
Yeah, the ones that are just like... Those are fine. Yeah, those loops... Let me even check if they're being used by... Like Shuriken bullets, for example. They're being used in the game. I just don't remember if these guys themselves are using it. All right, this guy... Yeah, Throne Light Loop. Okay, so when you throw a shuriken, that comes out, but when the object gets deleted, so does the studio emitter, and that will turn that off. There's an easy way to check. I can go. Let's go back to the test area, and we can check and see how many channels are open. Just do a quick Fmod test while we're here.
Well, as far as the Vulture Feast loop. Yeah, that just loops back at the beginning drop. I mean, at the end of the day, I am still working on getting procedural music put in, which is just having the loops cut in and out based on game action. So that will likely change. And then if we don't end up doing that, honestly, that is the best looping point. So that's not really... There's not anything better other than just looping the main part, but then it'll just get boring faster. Let's see.
All right, let's go.
And then there's repeating. Hang on, we gotta scroll back up. Gunfire that are really fast break audio.
That's going to be a channel thing. I'll look at that, Devin, and I'll see when and how it's releasing channels.
Okay.
Back to
So
you.
we're actually procedurally adding and removing the amount of channels that like to prevent it from overloading, right?
Yeah, it's like if there's 2,000 guns fucking shooting in one stage, it's just going to do what it does, and it'll start dropping channels, and that's fine. That's sensory overload at that point. But guns don't just say play the sound, play the sound, play the sound, play the sound. They occupy and release channels based on based on whether or not they're still firing and that sound effect is still playing.
Okay.
Let's see. Enable debug overlay and editor enable. And
death sound is very loud for training dummies. Is that still the digital person? The
wow sound. That
yep. Is that what they are?
Is that loud?
So that would be
digital style. I was doing that a lot this weekend.
I keep saying, "Don't touch me," and people look at me weird.
I'm a computer.
VR guy. Here we go.
Yeah. Why can't I see him? Where is he? Combat characters, because I'm in the wrong folder. I'm a dum-dum. That's the reason.
VR teleport. They're not peaking too loud unless their emitter is too close to the camera.
You stand by the cheds.
Yeah, Snob. That's the idea. I'm gonna end up the idea being is it'll cut to a different part of the song that's quieter, and it'll loop like the build up or whatever. And then as people show up and you're blowing stuff up, then it kicks to the action again. That's a future audio build probably in the next couple of weeks. Now that my move is finished and I'm actually here set up again.
All right, so I've got a ton of channels all going. Real channel 0, total 36. I'll have to unmute. And I'm using 34 channels, 68 channels. I have a ton of, just for testing, a ton of sound effects things playing. The looping guy that you had indicated might have been a problem. So let's do this. Delete. And yeah, my channel's free up, so it's not that. The moment those things are deleted, it's all set to delete those channels. So it's not those that are causing it. There could be a memory leak or like a channel reservation issue somewhere, but it's definitely not those. So that audio is fine, Devin. It ain't those boys.
It ain't those. All right, cool. Just making sure they don't have to be changed to one shot and then let them rip a different way. Oh, I went too far. Wait,
I've gone too far.
No, I'm scrolling all over the place trying to answer.
And after we're done with audio stuff, with those of you guys who are still around, I want to talk siege mode, and we'll do infiltration later. I have some issues with the train stage, and we're going to make some changes that I think it just needs. Like the box area, I think we're going to let you walk up atop the boxes, so it feels like the outdoor area has more of an interactive feel to it. And we'll figure out something else to do with the luggage area to make it more like, well, less like just a static area.
Yeah, it looks like we fielded all the main questions here.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to ask, are we planning to do this a little bit more regularly as we're kind of working through the beta? Okay.
We're going to just stream development stuff over the weeks. Just every now and then we'll just have it on. And I'd like to touch base maybe on Mondays. Mondays feels pretty good. And we'll talk progress as we go. Because I want to have the new revisions done by this next weekend. Not this weekend, but the next weekend. So Mondays would be good. Because I know today is Friday, but it feels like a Monday to me. So I like this whole
yeah, you're just getting back. Well, before I run, just ping me in the private chat. We can talk about that. I've got the voice set. I forget which one, but your buddy finished the Golem, I believe. So I got to just get that chopped in. And then next week, I'm going to do that procedural thing. We've got the parameter set. I just need to kind of go through and do the loops. I'll start with the simple version. So there's no lead in and lead out. It just cuts to after the 4 bars. And then we'll go from there. Cool. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I'll pop back in. If you got more audio things to bring up, I can take a look and make changes. Take it easy, people.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So I think we got a good grip on Murder Room. All right. I dig that. So we're not going to change Murder Room itself too much. At least not that one room. We are going to change the enemies. It's going to feel very different. It's going to be less about asylum patients grabbing you and orderlies grabbing you, and it's right. It's going to be less about pharmacists making you executable and then sleepwalkers executing you. The enemies are way too complicated for a stage that is supposed to be focused on the hazards being the complication. So yeah, so we're gonna do that. There will be enemies that are weird, but it won't be only enemies that are really weird. It'll be a lot of just bland dudes that are there deliberately for you to annihilate. And if you let them get too close to you, then that's when it becomes a problem. They're going to mostly walk, not run. They're not going to try to flank you. They will take the most direct path, again, except for certain exceptions. But they will be dumb enemies with sprinkled in a little some complicated enemies to change it up. And then maybe you'll have to fight like a boss who is more like a bot. So more like the Sheriff or Jesus fight, like a guy that's just complicated in that stage. But that remains to be seen. We're still figuring it out. So we're going to come back to Murder Room. Let me see if just last couple of questions to address then. All right, so Zep, so Pumpkin, you were saying... all right, build your army. Okay, so the build your army is not just the hirelings, though. It's also the, we've been calling them status quo troopers, but we're not really sure what the organization is really called. We're still working on it, but you'll be able to hire in boys, just like more hordes of dudes. We need to... Balancing is the big issue. And then interface after that, like how to call them in, or do they just show up? But not in such a way where they just appear at the beginning of a wave, die, and then you forget that you ever had them. So we're trying to think of how they'll manifest. Is it going to be based on, oh shoot, you're in trouble, they come in and save you the way the imaginary friend does? So that still takes some addressing, which is why they're not in. But yeah, let's see. So leveling up your hirelings, well, you don't really have to level them up. You just take them in and win, and then they level themselves up. We are still working on the priority skills so that dudes will want to train up in certain things over other things, like taking tactical novice right away, regardless of what their focus groups are, or if their focus skill groups are. Let's see, what else do we... Oh, you mean like level up when you're not there? Yeah, I'm sort of on the fence. Final Fantasy VII, I might have been the one that started that. I don't remember which, but the guys that are in your team, your team of 3, always got the experience from the fights. But every other dude that wasn't in the team would get a fraction of that just for existing, so that you didn't have to level them up from scratch. What I'd rather do is have it so that you take lower level guys on higher level missions and protect them so they learn something. But I'm not sure if that's viable. So we'll come back to that. But we'll talk about hirelings later. I know they're actually very important for these missions. So doing things like putting them in defense of making them security officers of checkpoints, or telling them to hold a position so that enemies can't get past, will be important for things like siege mode, which we'll get to in a second. In fact, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and address siege mode now? Because I think we're good on Murder Room, and Matt and I are going to do some development stuff and come back to you guys with questions maybe on Monday. So let's get over to... what do we want to do? Let's do gas defense. Yeah, because we have some other stuff, but these are going to have to go back through development. Like, what do we have? Yeah, Castle was a stage we're working on, and it's got like multiple points to come through. But it will. It's not done, but it will suffer from the same problems as the gas station does. So this is going to have to go through some revisions based on the changes we make to the gas station. So we're not going to be able to rely on those. So we won't talk about those stages because they're going to get some changes added in. So Matt gave me a version. I still have to install it. That's the first thing I'm doing today after we get off chat. That separates the that separates the sandbags and whatnot. And this is what we're thinking. My big problem with siege stages, and then I want to get you guys' thoughts and see if it coincides, because my big problem isn't just me playing the game, but also what I've seen folks have issues with is this is just a stage where dudes come in and they're either fighting you or they're fighting the gas pumps, right? Like, that's basically what siege mode is right now. is dudes come in and they fight the pumps, or they fight you. And the strategy is to let them hit the pumps just enough so they're not fighting you and killing you, but not enough that, I mean, in later stages, or just outright try to fight them and pull aggro, and as soon as you see them attacking, prioritize killing the guys that are fighting the pumps. And that's it. That's siege mode. So it's like you're not the priority target, and that's really the only difference between this stage and a battle room. And of course, if they do blow up those targets, you pay for it with penalties. Yeah. Okay, so other than that, big problems you guys are having with the gas pump stage. What is? I mean, bugs. Feel free to include bugs if you run into something. But like, what are we thinking? What are the like huge issues here?
I think one of my main issues is it can feel kind of random in terms of just having a situation crop up that you simply cannot help. Like, for instance, if a bandit comes in and like one of your pumps is really low and he just like idly whips a knife and just blows it up, or someone spawns in with like a revolver that you can't get to, and he just like chunks it down and like a third of the health is gone.
Yeah,
that's like,
that's
I'm on wave one. I might as well give
an
up.
issue, especially for here over in my like stream area. The ramp that they jump down from is the big one, because it's hard to hit guys that are coming up there until the moment that they're jumping off. And these bottom zones where they come in where you can't see them yet. Over here on the left, at least you have a chance to shoot them if you are using ranged, to shoot them before they cross. But that's it. Once they cross this line, they're able to shoot anything that is their target, be it a player, a hireling, or a gas pump. And that's not great, because you can't always know where they're coming from or with what weapon. And the fact that they just run into the stage means that you're not given the opportunity to respond in time. So something that Funkle and I were talking about before, and then I'll be reading what you guys are saying. But I want to acknowledge this. Something that Funkle and I were talking about before we started this today is that I think is an issue, is that these dudes can spawn in from any side, and you got to run over there to take care of it, but they're running just as fast as you. If you're on the left fighting some guys over here, the dudes on the right, if you even are aware that there are guys coming, they've already jumped off the ledge and have run over to the pumps, and they're taking care of them before you have a chance to respond. Even if like you have higher speed than them, you are constantly moving, and that pressure is a little bit weird. It gets to a point where the most viable thing is to stand right in the middle and shoot the guys as they come in that you can, and then strafe up and down to get them if they're in the different rows, to try to get them that way. If you're melee, you are hustling, and it's not really what I want for this game mode. So I'm thinking of making some changes that should fix that. Not thinking of, but we are going to make some changes that fix that. But before we get to those changes, I want to acknowledge what you guys are typing here. So let's go about that. Okay. So the thing about bandit brutes and gas, I did change it so if you shoot somebody and they're targeting one of these things, they should change their aggro to you. If that's not working, then that's not working, and that's a bug. But have you guys noticed that not working? Like, if an enemy is fighting the pumps and you shoot them, they should come after you now, right? And I'm just collecting answers, is why, hence the silence. So shoot the cheese. One thing I can do is for these things, let's go in here right now, open this up. This guy has a mesh collider. One thing we can do to stop that from happening is we can put in a blocker. So this thing is set to obstacle, and the gas pump treats this as... Okay, so one thing we can do is I can create almost like a blocker. And this thing will be set to the layer of character block like this. So, the great thing about primitives, by the way, which we talked earlier about them being something that is low cost for Unity to run, and thus the physics engine. One thing we can do is we can make it something like this. Then that's probably good enough. It doesn't even need to be that much inside of it. And just having this will be enough to push anybody out that gets stuck inside of it. So if anybody ever ends up inside of this thing, they'll just get shoved outside of it, because nothing can exist inside of a cube in Unity. If you're inside of that, it shoves you out. Mesh colliders, on the other hand, are a lot less complex. So if you're inside this mesh, it's like, it's like the old school like Doom or Doom 2, where when you're behind a wall, you can just, you're just sort of in there. It's more complex than that. That's what's keeping you from getting back out again. But now that we have that, we can remove this and put that on static. I can't wait to see what bugs this creates. Should be none, but we'll see. But that should stop you at least from getting stuck inside of there. Let's make this thinner. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's good enough for now. So that'll stop that from happening. So now all those guys have that. That's just a character blocker that only prevents people from moving inside. Weapons could still get stuck, but you can still pick them up while they're inside there. Okay. So Zeds and Abominations as weapons. So Gangrene, you're talking about Zeds fighting other characters, right? When they spawn in? Because I'm thinking we're probably going to remove zombies from this stage. They just were in there. I think they just won't even appear in this stage. I'd like to have a zombie abomination monster house kind of stage meant to be based on those enemy types. Well, there'll be Zeds, just they wouldn't be in this stage. Let's see. So, oh yeah, Gangrene, you're right. Just because I had it so that they focus on you when you shoot them, the game is still grabbing guys that are targeting you and telling them, hey, go back for the pump. So you can distract them, but it can be temporary. Okay. Yeah, that is a thing. And Bill was saying the same thing. I'm now going through. And yeah, don't worry about the crits. That's a thing for me to look at today. I'm having trouble landing critical hits. I need to see what's going on, because I can land perfect blocks and cancel out of being combo stun locked pretty easily. I can't seem to get my own crits to hit, so I need to look at crits today. That's on the list. What else do we have? And Collar, yeah, that's a thing that's different now. Is that if if they're targeting the gas pump, they'll keep doing it until somebody hits them, you or a high. Pumpkin, we had an idea for a stage like that. I don't know if we're going to incorporate it, but that would be like, we had an idea for a siege stage where zombies are breaking windows trying to get in, and as they do, you could repair them to close them up. But I don't want... one thing I'm a little nervous about having you interacting with stuff in a stage, because I'm allergic to that after the old Abandoned Outpost stage, where in order to like play the stage, you have to stop fighting and go use an object and watch a bar fill up. We can make it a fast bar, and that the real delay is in running over to it, not the using of it. Like, that could be a thing, but I'm not against it. Matt and I have talked about an idea like this, but we'll come back to that.
I think it's a bit less intrusive when it's an optional thing you can do.
Yeah,
it's like you could let them flood in, but it like not repairing the windows doesn't ruin your run. It's not required to go.
So just for consistency, though, we would want to do that, Funkel, in a siege stage. So we wouldn't want to make it infiltration or battle, because if you have dudes breaking through stuff, that goes into the siege dynamic, which we'll get to in a second, which is going to be things like making these sandbag walls destroyable. Probably even switching it to mercs, so that mercs are the ones coming in dismantling stuff, or bandit brutes are the ones that are destroying these things, or something like that. And having demolisher units that are responsible for taking out defenses. So not every unit does it, but when you see a demolisher, he's the guy you want to stop from taking out the walls. Otherwise, if he does, these guys are going to have a straight shot to the thing that you're trying to defend. So the idea here is that we want to push out these walls, like over here, like get these guys like out here, so that you can run back here and fight the guys that are trying to take out these walls. Meanwhile, they're not running, but dudes are going to start spawning in, just walking. And they're going to walk tower defense style towards these things, and they will all try to kill the pumps, every single one of them. No one will fight you until you engage them, or if they're a special unit designed to do that. This is what we're working on right now. We're trying to find a way to balance this. So the idea is that we want to make this more like we can't do like we said, the Starship Troopers map where there's big walls and enemies trying to break through, or in the case of zombies breaking through windows, and you can't get to them to fight the zombies to stop them from breaking the window. You know, like you have to be able to access the guys that are fighting the window or fighting the sandbag or fighting the door. You need to be able to access them without breaking down the door yourself. So in a case like this, enemies will have to walk slowly in a path around the sandbags to eventually get to the gas pumps, or the special guys will start taking these sandbags down, dismantling them, and then, you know, once they've done that for the rest of that wave, they can just get through. To make this work, though, we're going to really ramp down siege maps so that the first checkpoint is like one wave. If you beat the one wave, you've beaten the siege checkpoint. Next one is like 2 waves, you know? Or maybe it's just one long wave that just goes on with more guys. Siege is going to follow different rules. But if it's a map that involves dudes breaking stuff down to get access to you faster, we have to make those siege maps. We can't put those in other map types because we have to differentiate between them. We want them to just organically feel different. So that would mean and require having a zombie siege stage, which I don't hate that idea, mind you. But having a zombie siege stage where you can go outside, clear them off the windows, you know? So, I mean, that could be fun. Having, like, the pilot is trapped in the house, in the living room, and he's injured. And you have to keep the zombies from killing the pilot, otherwise you fail a mission. Something like that. And he can't be moved. He's right there in the middle. I mean, it would be funny if he was on a gurney, like a physics object, and you push him around. And it can never be rocked.
Like with the wheels, yeah.
Yeah, we just push around a gurney, and he's just like strapped to it, and you have to like move him around or something, and that could be funny. But in reality, like practically, I would rather see it just like he's stuck in the middle of the floor, and the zombies are trying to get to him. Yeah.
I can see like how fun to come putting him in.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind that, having a zombie siege stage that is that, and that way it's a big open grounds and it does start to feel kind of like the gas station originally wasn't it? Yeah, because you don't really see it, but the gas station also has an inside. Here. Yeah, this is the inside of the gas station. You actually go in here. So you can see the gas pumps from the outside. Casual Friday.
No, yeah, because I'm imagining like starts in a different place, like one of 3, just to kind of keep going.
Yeah.
Or like he moves from spot to spot.
It would have to be like, if there's a favorite spot though, we can't just have it be like it spawns when you go in, because then you just leave and come back, and at which point just make it the good spot, you know? Fixed spot is fine by me, but maybe it depends on the checkpoint. For example, first checkpoint, right in the middle, easily defendable. Second one, oh shit, it's right here, whatever that thing is. Yeah.
Like maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Treated as one option.
Right.
Oh, we need to use the IV machine now.
Right.
It's like, all right, using the IV machine.
I'd love to see like rooms like with Fog of War, or you know, like not unlike just like walls that vanishers.
Oh, yeah.
But then like the back walls are visible to you when you're in a room. The front walls are vanished, but you see a Fog of War that doesn't show you anything that's like, you know. And I can make it so that appears on top of every layer, so it's non-Euclidean and just blacks everything out.
And
you know,
because this thing does play pretty good. So that could be really, really claustrophobic.
Yeah. I do like the idea of like zombies breaking into a house. This is a thing that we've thought about, guys, and just hearing you guys organically. What was it, Pumpkin, who mentioned it? But like, or whoever did, I think it was you, Pumpkin. But like, but having hearing other people talking about stuff like this, Funkle, I think somebody, either you or someone in our dev chat, also recommended that zombies breaking in. It's organically come up a couple of times, and considering that's a favorite, I wouldn't mind considering that for the next siege stage.
Yeah.
And then we save the like, the breaking the bridge hacking one for Dark Signals N51 guys, and let that be like for more complicated units.
Cool hospital thing.
Yeah.
You know, because like this is presumably like with some mileage behind the zombie.
Yeah. And this could be fun, but just having a house that has 3 native entrances and they're long, or you can or they can just come in from the windows, and then it's just more entrances for guys to get to you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah, it would be like the window, like the living room itself would be like towards the back of the house, like the top of the screen, and
No, I'm selling myself on the church idea because I want big fucking windows, project a stained glass lighting on the they can find around.
as long as it's got like a cool grounds outside, like neat little like one repeatable statue or something, or gargoyle or something, or a weeping angel or something. That'd be funny, a Gollum weeping angel. And of course, this is where we'll definitely see zombie golems will start to pop up. Gil's not the only one. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's not that we're settled on this, but this is in keeping with the idea that we have for Siege, which Siege maps will be, and let's get to the real background here. Siege maps really ought to be stages where you want to defend a central thing. I mean, heck, we can even crunch this down and make it 2 pumps.
I mean, make them tougher, make only 2.
I don't mind 4. 4 is fine. But
4 is fun because
there's some things I want to change. Like I like these light posts, but they do kind of block the view a bit, so I might want to make them like
I just give
outside, like I might like swap them up so it's like outside and outside like that, and then there's like a pump here and a pump here, so it's staggered like that. But then again, now the light is blocking the guy that could potentially be fighting.
closer.
I've shrunk them down a couple times too. They used to be like big. But
Yeah, get rid of the lower everything. Pumps inside.
I like the light though. We just got to figure something out to do with it. Or they could both just be on the outside like that. I know I just did that, but if I bring everything in as well, if this guy came in, just do the pumps closer. Yeah, but anyway, you guys get the idea there. Yes, Winnie, come here. Come here. There's a dog in you. Come here, Winnie. This is my puppy. Winnie, stay. Winnie, say something. Say something. Say something. Say something. Grumbling. Say something. Say something. Good girl. Go get it. Go get it, puppy. All right. Winnie's in a rare mood. Matt was taking care of her for me for a week. Now everything is back to normal and she's beside herself. So that's what we're thinking. This is our discussion that Matt and I had last night. Was in siege mode, make this a tight fighting area. Make this a nice area. It's perfectly fine the way it is. There's lots of avenues to like get engaged in melee, shoot with ranged, and have this be the area that you want to essentially keep them out of that area in general. But that you can go past these areas to fight them, for example, past these sandbags to fight them on this side of the sandbags, at a place where they're only trying to march in a slow march in here to take these things out. Like they're creeping along, like they think they're secret or something. And their big focus is to ignore you and go for the pumps. I don't care if it makes them inhuman. It's just a game mode. I would prefer it to be fun over make sense. And we'll change the meta later to explain why they are that way. But having them come in slowly and walking and marching slowly, maybe they'll hit you if they see you, or they'll shoot you if they can see you. So they're fighting, but they're still slowly walking towards the pumps. And once they get in here to the pumps, they won't shoot the moment they see it. They have to be close, even with a gun. They'll come up onto it. They'll engage it from a very close range. And it's up to you to, again, stop them from doing that by fighting them. And I think that this will improve the siege stages to make it really feel like a proper siege, where if you can maintain those sandbags, they have to walk a nice long distance to get around them. They won't be structured just like this. We'll come up with something. But we'll get there. But anyway, that's what we're thinking for siege stages. And picture it the same way as we talked about that zombie house, where once they break down those windows, they can just pour in directly into the room that you're trying to defend. But if they can't, 1 or 2 zombies will each focus on a window, smacking on it, while the rest have to walk the long way around. That's where we're going right now with this. So that, I think, will improve siege. It'll give you guys lots of room to like you are going to be like ass on fire running from point to point. The little meters that show you that these things are being slowly broken into, those will appear on the sides of your screen. So even if you can't view them, you know that they're being under attack. You'll see that coming. So you'll know to respond to it and know how much time you have left until they break in. And I think it'll be one at a time. So one laborer setting C4, one zombie breaking into the window, not multiple. We could do multiple. That's an option, but just to keep it simple. And also so you don't have to clear out tons of guys or like 3 brutes all breaking down a sandbag. And also that way the window doesn't fill up too quickly, or the sandbag doesn't fill up its bar too quickly. So you have a legit and safe amount of time to go respond to it. In the meantime, guys are just doing tower defense, walking their path to get to the center. And when they get there, it's not game over. You just have to now focus on taking those guys out. So, yeah, this stage is the easy one. So we'll probably only have 2 points that are walls that you have to defend. That sounds fair, right? We don't want to have like 5 sandbags. That doesn't make sense. No. They'll probably be far left and far right. So they probably won't come in from the street anymore. That'll just be like a little cutoff area. Can't go that way. They'll probably all just come like slowly from this way and like down this way. Then maybe they'll come up from the street because they couldn't come this way directly in. But if you let the sandbag wall break, that's bad. That doesn't make you lose, but they will now run straight in there. And there's no more time for you to buy. So that will feel like a siege, like you're under pressure this way. I think that covers that. So we have that, and we have the battle rooms. I'm thinking infiltration rooms. We're going to have to make some changes to the train, and we'll go into the train for a moment. Train ride. We'll have to make some changes to the train to incorporate, like, to make it feel more like a proper infiltration room. We'll actually add more of these. One here, probably. Actually, one here would be pretty cool. Like that. And then we'll have like 2x4s that let you get up and down, It's like one there and like maybe a smaller one down here, like that. And then ramps to get between them. So this would be like, that guy would go there, and then you'd have a ramp going up, and then a ramp going up, and then across, and then across. And then this way, it feels like it has multiple levels. Then we can get rid of cover, which is fine, but we don't need as much. And the cover is, instead of taking cover behind boxes, is more based on being out of view of the enemy. And then it can be more like this stage where you're here or down here. Put that back where it was. And then this stage is going to need some work. We'll have to figure this out. I might actually divide this into 2 rooms or something, and maybe that'll work. I don't want choke points though, and I'm debating a way to get from here back up top again. I'm not exactly sure how we do it. Maybe another ramp or something. But yeah, infiltration stages. These ones are going to be more based on, instead of enemies trickling in the way that they will for siege and for battle rooms, for infiltration stages, we're thinking like 2 squads of guys will appear all at once, both sets from like different doors or same doors, and they slowly try to hunt you down. We want them to feel more like those rooms in Batman, in the Arkham series, I should say, where the enemies have guns and you're swinging from golem to golem, not golem, sorry, gargoyle to gargoyle. Where instead of gargoyles and instead of hiding, you're as loud as you want to be. Or you're an agent and you're playing stealthy. And I'm thinking that's how we want it to be. This room doesn't fit, this train area and this train area don't fit for infiltration maps the way that I want them to work. They just feel like 2-bit battle rooms. So they're going to have to take some work to feel like infiltration. And yeah, Predator stages. I think that is what they're called. Yeah, Pumpkin, I think you're right. Yeah, we want them to feel more like that, except as loud as you want to be as well. Like you are a far more dangerous gunman than any one or multiple of them. But we want those squads to work in tandem, and these work better with enemies that do well strategically. The AHW do well strategically because they just keep pressure on. They're not strategic in any other way, but they do that. Nexus units and eventually N51, same sort of thing. So that's the question. If we want N51 guys to be in a siege stage, they're going to have to be a little bit dumb because they're going to have to follow the rules of siege. We can have guys do things differently, like hackers that come in to use computers to drop the floors. So it's not about destroying sandbags. It's about dropping floors in that enemies can use to access you. Otherwise, they have to come in the slow way. And those kinds of enemies might work better in an infiltration stage than they would in something like this. Sorry, this is an infiltration stage. By this, I meant in siege stages like I was just discussing. And yeah, that's Gangrene. They're supposed to be, Nexus guys are supposed to be attrition. They're there to keep delivering units and soaking fire and keep you moving and ticking away at your attack bar until one of them gets lucky. At the end of the day, they're not supposed to be better than you. You were supposed to embarrass them if you're playing well, or if you're fully stocked. But yeah, they will run you down. Even zombies can be eventually defeated using only unarmed, as long as there's choke points for you to use. So I don't know. I think that pretty much covers us for now and what we're trying to do. I think our priority right now, Matt and I are going to discuss privately after this where we want to start between Siege and Battle, probably Siege. But we're going to figure this out and come up with this direction for the day. I'll probably use the rest of today to fix at least story mode to get it finishable, because there's too many people playing it and putting it on YouTube and getting stuck. And that's frustrating when you're trying to create content and can't play it. So our priority is going to get that stuff fixed today. I have a nice long list of stuff thanks to you guys. I think that'll probably cover us for today. Do we have any last thoughts on specifically Siege, Battle, and Infiltration? Actually, I could get some thoughts on the train stage, since this is the only infiltration map that we have live. What are the problems you guys are having with it? Don't say mag agent gets stuck in the ceiling. That's either fixed or I'm trying to fix it. But other than that. Loot caches. That could be interesting, Pumpkin, to have lockers that respawn certain things every time you come back into the room. I wouldn't be against that. That was something Matt and I had talked about once upon a time. Gangrene, when you say variety, are we talking room types? Yeah, well, I mean, at least in this stage, the background's always going to be the same. But let me show you some of the facility stage, because I don't think that's come up. So the idea was you would start, I think, in Atrium. That would make sense. I'm sure this will break and is unfinished, but... and based on how we do it, the new infiltration setup, this is going to require some changes as well. But yeah, you can still come in here and execute a few starter guys before they start to notice you, and now the jig is up. And I love the idea of the AHW standing guard here, this is something they do. This would clearly be a Nexus stage once we actually get to it. And this is a low-level starter guy for testing, as you can see. Except for the weapon. Dark Signal, this is the facility infiltration stage that I'm just showing for proof of concept. I got cash money. I'll delete through these guys so we can kind of see. So yeah, now you can see that we have a different area with we've got lower floor here, so you can actually force cover here. You can block up enemies that are up top. You do have actual legit cover up here. Let's get through all that. Yeah, passing through up here, hook weapons. So yeah, you can see I'm supposed to move down there. There's the go signal. So this is not really much different than the way the train is structured, except now you have different rooms. Obviously, we need a camera area there. We have dudes spawning around here. That's cute. That dude's hunting me down. So that's the door I'll go through when I leave. Nice, big, huge room. This could easily stomach, and yeah, you can see we need camera zones. That is just bad design. That's not supposed to block that. We'll come back to that. Or by bad design, I mean we need the camera to be able to aim a different direction. None of that.
Curious.
Yeah, this is the indoor facility room.
Oh no, I love this room. Yeah. It's just got
It needs a camera to be able to show. That needs to be downward so you can see down there. Yeah, this one feels great. The colors are there so you don't feel lost, so you kind of know where you are. That green will be something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that light casting across the...
And this here would be a, you would be able to see under here, of course.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So here, what we have, the problem is that these enemies are kind of like following me individually. This would work better with a squad-based group that wants to stick together, and those squads communicate amongst each other to know how to sandwich you. So if I take cover here, the whole time, one squad of Nexus guys were coming down below this way, one squad of Nexus guys are coming behind me, chasing me to put pressure on this way, forcing confrontation. But because I'm an underpowered guy and I can just... Don't you block me, jerk. Forever. Oh yeah, see, that's the problem with... Because we changed the stun time on enemies, guys. One change we're going to make today after I mess with crits is the stun time on enemies is going to be longer on dudes that you critical hit. Which means enemies which don't crit will never have this effect on you or your teammates. But you and your teammates are going to be able to... get enemies to stun a little bit longer, so if you crit them, you have better chance of hooking combos together. But anyway, enough of the stream of consciousness stuff. This is a proof of concept. This is a semi-final design for the facility. We can clear these guys out. Let's just press delete, get through all this. Kill, kill, die, 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 die. Fly through here, and then we'll get to the final room before it loops back to the atrium. And then we have an area that was kind of inspired by the abandoned outpost. I love it when they grumble at the same time. They're so like they're like Minecraft zombies and like villagers.
Sounds like they're thinking of something very specific.
And these are all like default weapons for testing, I guess. Or oh no, those are just test objects there for something we were doing. I'm almost out of. I'm going to throw myself to my inevitable death. Oh, I spawned the wrong way there. That's hilarious. That's so funny. Hey guys, I found a bug. But anyway, yeah, you can see that we have planned for facility stages, or the facility stage for infiltration to be different. Like we have small rooms, we have big rooms, we have outdoors, we have indoors. And we want to do something like that with the train without taking away the train as an infiltration stage. So one thing I think I want to do with the train is give it the same change that the gas pump station, or not the gas pump, the foundry is going to have, which is make it a stage you play for 20 minutes and then you never have to play it again. It is your intro to infiltration, and you play it just enough to get through it, and then it moves you on with the game. I think that's what's going to end up happening with the train, so you don't get bored of it. Because those are very like narrow areas to fight in. And rather than just revamp the whole thing, I'd rather just say, no, you just play it for a little bit and you move on to the next infiltration. Nice, easy, digestible stuff. And then you go rescue the chef or whatever that is. That stage. In the facility, it depends on the faction. There are no Nexus mags. But we might do like a version of this that has AHW like you just saw here. But we'll see. As you can see, all the ceilings are very big, so we could support a mag in here. So Dark Signal, maybe. With Pit Stop, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm okay with it being fast-ish, but it depends, because I kind of like that stage. I think that it could stand to have a lot of versatility, but ultimately, I've between the Pit Stop and having a zombie house survival type thing, I think that the zombie stage would be a lot more fun for players because we're devoid of all ranged enemies other than spitter zombies, so swamp zeds. Yeah, Pit Stop, well, bear in mind, remember, Pit Stop is not going to have as many rounds. The reason you'll play Pit Stop is because it'll be fewer waves, and like Dark Signal was asking, you won't play it as long as the other ones. And 25 XP is not bad at the very beginning, but if it's a wave that has 200 guys, and you only play one wave per checkpoint, then yeah, of course, you'll get a lot more XP. It'll be based on the amount of time you spend in the stage. So, yeah, unless we have any last-minute stuff, I think that pretty much covers us here. And then I'm going to get to work fixing bugs and then restructuring Arena over the weekend. So what do we got? Final verdict on Pit Stop. Dark Signal's asking. Yeah, well, that's what's going to happen with Siege. Just I'll post updates so you see where we're going. Let's go back to. I always, because I'm saying Siege, it's stuck in my head. I don't think to go to Gas Defense. There's not the name of the stage now. What we're going to have is 2 ways for enemies to come from, like left and right. And they'll, like, if they miss, like if the sandbag wall is there, wherever it happens to be, they'll have to come in and like go all the way around it, all the way up, all the way over, all the way down, and then back in. Once they destroy that sandbag wall, if they do, they spawn and they go right in. Same with the other side, same sort of rules. So it would behoove you to balance between making sure that you invest long-term in keeping those defenses intact, while also preventing the guys that will just naturally flow into the pump area to prevent them from doing the damage that they're going to do to cause you to lose. So that's more or less what's going to be happening there. And then every siege stage to follow will follow the same rules. You've got zombies outside, great. For some reason, they don't think to go through the front door. You can take the long way around, or maybe we have ramps on the inside that let you jump out of second story windows. So it's a one-way it's a one-way street to get outside for you to clear out a window, but you still have to run your way back into to get back into the main area. It would probably be the same thing with the sandbags here, which would be like a ramp that lets you come over and shoot guys off of it or melee guys off of it. Probably something similar to that. So, so that's more or less where we are. And yeah, the Sleepwalker stage is not meant to be. That's there for, I just need to kill a couple of quick guys, or I just want to see how far I can go in the original Project Nexus Flash Flash game arena, and simulate how far could I go in this game using similar rules. That's just there for sport and fun and some like bonus XP with no money. That's not really there for like balance per se. But these ones are going to be the focus. So so that'll be the idea, is that you'll play 2 or 3 stages, and then you'll be able to play Contract 2, that's the gang mission. Or I guess they're all gang missions. That's the Mafia mission. Get the Chef. That stage will not be as hard as we've ramped it up to be again now. You'll beat that, then you'll go in and beat a bunch of other stages, then you'll do the 3rd contract with the vampires, and then you'll have a couple other stages after that. So we have some work to do, and we are going to be doing crazy shitty hours to make sure we get this thing done, because we've been struggling to try to make March the last like month of true development, and so that way we can spend it. We're going to spend as much time as we have to finish debugging this thing. That's and also balancing this thing. It is what it is, and we're not releasing this game if it's not done. Plain and simple. Some, not you guys, because you guys are beta testers and you guys were involved in helping us. But a lot of people on the outside whine and complain because they either don't know what's going on or they don't understand game development. Usually one or the other. And we can say it'll get done when it gets done, and they hate that. Well, oh well. Would you rather we lie? So rather than lie and rather than project stuff, we were hoping to be content done this month, doing bug fixing with you guys. Is that after the thing broke?
Yeah.
Is that the gif of after the game broke? Yeah, I tell everybody, like, look at everybody's surprised. Chris is offended and laughing. I think he got it, but I knew instantly when Charlotte broke it. That stumble looked fake AF, man. Yeah, I knew it. That's JonTron's wife. But anyhow, So rather than tell you guys, hey, yeah, we want to release in April, instead I'll say we want to be done with content in March and never have to do content again until release, and then start doing DLC type stuff, even free stuff after that. Yeah, lots of free stuff. But that's what we're shooting for. So in order to do that, and especially if we're going to be revamping stages that we thought we weren't going to have to do that again with, then, oh well, if the game gets bumped, the game gets bumped. But if it needs it, it needs it. And I really do think it does, based on you guys' notes. Fortunately, it sounds like Murder Room is not going to need as much work as we thought it was. Yeah, perfect.
That kid's.
And actually, that would be pretty funny if we named the haunted house thing, if we named that Zed Survival, and just now they can shut the fuck up. I do like that, by the way, PG3D.
Yeah, this is Zed Survival.
This is what we were talking about the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you think we meant? Yeah. So okay, well, I'm happy at least that you guys are having a better time with Murder Room than I thought. We are any changes we make, I promise, will only be to make it more fun. less changes to the room, more changes to the enemies is really it. Because, yeah, everybody loves it when you're on a floor that's going to fall and you're fighting enemies that only grab you. Everybody has a great time with that. So so that will be as gone as we can make it gone. Murder Room would be more based on you using hazards to kill enemies while at the same time avoiding those hazards yourself. So that'll be that. And yeah, for infiltration, procedural, maybe. Probably not too much because of balancing issues. If anything, it'll be like this cabinet spawns here and this cabinet does not spawn here on different like walkthroughs of that room. But honestly, though, Gangrene, I'm more inclined to just say you only ever go to any room in infiltration one time rather than looping back through. Maybe you loop back through because the game can support that, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm gonna go back through the entire chat and just make sure I didn't miss anything, guys, because the whole point is to get your thoughts on this, and that's why we're here. So I'll run back through, make certain that nothing got unattended. Since Funkel's like, do you want to have someone go through and like ask questions and keep track of stuff? I'm like, no, I'll do it. So I will live up to that. And he knows better. He knew. But
I already took down a couple things.
Oh, that will be helpful. Because I was just kidding about I was kidding about that part. I am actually going to go through and reread just to make sure.
Yeah.
Which he's kidding, but about which part? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Thanks, guys, for joining in. We're going to make this more regular, and also throughout this next week. Not today, since Matt and I are mostly going to be doing like an in-person chat thing, like a work meeting to figure out what comes next, like what we want to prioritize and what the next murder room looks like. But yeah, this next week I'm going to stream development stuff. It's not going to be, there won't be a lot of interactivity because I need to concentrate while I work. Coding is it's fine to explain it like I was doing earlier with the leap areas, the leap zones. And this I'm going to fix today. It's fun to describe it, but my productivity goes down to like 10% because I'm explaining rather than just doing. So don't expect a lot of interactivity then. Unless I need you guys for something, like if there's a problem and I want some takes on what the issue was, I might come back in. But at least, you know, we want to kind of be transparent with the stuff that we're working on. So expect Matt or myself or both to often or at least sometimes have the dev stream live.
Yeah. This cost me
nothing. Yep. So, all right, guys. Well, I think that's it for now. So thanks for dropping by, dudes. I'll be around today. If anybody does think of any more bugs, for today at least, just feel free to just purge ideas into here for things that are broken that you'd like to see fixed. Because today's chat is about like dev idea chat stuff. So I know we have areas of the Kickstarter. What am I going on about? I saw the word Kickstarter, so I said it. I'm not smart. But I know we have areas of the Discord that are dedicated to communicating ideas. For right now, since this was the topic, we will just continue chatting in this area in the dev stream chat. But come later, we'll like next week, for example, when we come to that, we'll figure out what we're going to use the chat areas for. But we'll be streaming a little bit more next week and maybe do another chat, a direct interactive chat on Monday, maybe. Yeah, let's say Monday. So there we go. All right, boys and girls, and what was it? Guys, gals, non-binary pals. Yeah, Kenji uses that. Guys, gals, and non-binary pals. We'll catch you guys as soon as Monday. And if I have more questions on stuff, I'll at you guys individually. I'll keep it public, but I'll at you guys if there were any bugs you guys mentioned or thoughts, and I needed to get more disambiguation on that. All right. So, all right, dudes, I'm going to cut off the stream for now, but I might put it live while I do bug fixing later today, okay? Okay? All right, see you guys. Hey, okay. All right, I'm going to get off voice chat. Bye, guys.
All right, everyone go home. Party's over. You could migrate over into one of the voice channels. Feel free. Y'all are staying gagged in here though.